Um, I am based in the Rochester office, and I am Director of Strategic Engagement for First Priority Mortgage. So as you know, with Howard Hanna, we have the one team, one dream. And there are a lot of different services under the Howard Hanna umbrella, and finance is very important. So in New York State, for how we all came to be Howard Hanna, there was Nothnagel Realtors, there was Realty USA, and many of our histories coming to Howard Hanna were very similar. That's why it has all been such a success, and we have continued to flourish because we all believed that the customer today loves that one-stop shopping. You know, when you look at Amazon, you look at a lot of different things that have expanded during the pandemic. One of the biggest things is ease, and the customers want it simple and so forth. So I want to talk a little bit about just when you're working with a buyer and when you're working with a seller, how important it is to know different things. So the best thing that you can do to help you be successful as you continue to launch your real estate career is to align yourself with good, strong partners. So you want to have a mortgage consultant, a loan officer that is strong and supportive so that you can refer your buyers to getting pre-qualified, and you have a resource to ask all the information. You know, very often some new agents will say to me, well, you know, I guess I don't need to know anything, right? You know, if they've been pre-qualified, I'm just going to trust that to be the case, or I'm going to trust when I get these multiple offers that when they say they're a pre-approval, they're really a pre-approval. And those are the things that we need to really talk about and to make yourself aware of what's going on out there. So, you know, in the environment that we have right now, and we have what I consider an unbalanced market. So we have more buyers than we have houses for them to sell. So very often it's called a seller's market. So the buyers have to position themselves to be in the best possible way in a competitive offer situation. So around the state, and certain areas are different than others, most houses have multiple offers. I've heard of 50 or 60, and many of these houses are often going over asking price, and significantly. In the last couple of weeks, I've heard of 3 houses in the Rochester area that went over $100,000 over asking price. So it is a competitive environment. And at the moment, I'm not seeing that that's going to change in the near future. Okay. And there's a lot of reasons behind it. One of which, you know, when you look at the different segments of our population, the millennial generation now has more people than the baby boomer generation. And when you put COVID into that, we really have seen a lot of different things happen. So with COVID, you know, when you think about the baby boomer generation, for those people that were in senior communities, they were locked down. They weren't able to see anyone in their family. So as you can well imagine, if someone is being a mature homeowner and the thought is, well, do I stay in a house or do I go into a senior facility? I bet a lot of them are afraid to move because they don't want to stop seeing their family. So we're seeing people that look to purchase a single-story dwelling or to make changes so that they can age in place in their own home, whether it's to adjust the bathroom, to get one of those stair lifters for a 2-story house, whatever the case might be. There may be a lot of maturing homeowners that would be in a position to sell, but now they're not selling. And then we have many people in the baby boomer, in the millennial generation that are, in their late 20s, early 30s, that are now in a position to look for a house. And pre-COVID, maybe living in those loft apartment buildings was a great thing to do. But with COVID, people didn't want to be on an elevator. they didn't want to be in a high density situation. So through the pandemic, real estate has even gotten more and more competitive, and the same with the financing. So the biggest thing right now that if you leave today and you think about is we need to put people in the very best position in a challenging market. So what does that mean? Getting your buyers in to be pre-approved. Now, every single bank is going to treat a pre-approval and a pre-qualification differently. So I will talk about how we look at it. So a pre-approval is whereby the client has shared all their information with us. So what do I mean by that? You know, when we're qualifying someone for a mortgage, you look at the entire picture. Okay, so we're going to ask those questions. What have you done, you know, for your employment? What are all your assets? What does your credit look like? All of the entire picture factors into that. And we are going to ask for their documentation. So when we talk about employment history, we're going to ask for pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns. We're going to ask for bank statements, financial statements, and we're going to pull an in-depth credit report. And all banks across the country utilize what's called automated underwriting systems. We abbreviate it AUS. And whether you're in California or Florida or in New York, every bank is going to put that buyer's information into Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's system to get a decision. So the AUS is there. So when we give someone a pre-approval at first priority, we have checked everything. So the only thing that that buyer needs is an accepted purchase contract and an appraisal. Okay, so it's giving that buyer more consideration. What a pre-qual is we would talk to the buyer, they give us information, and we use that information to determine their eligibility. Okay, so thereby, you know, we don't have proof. So some people will say a pre-qual is not worth the paper it's printed on. Well, not every buyer isn't honest, but some buyers definitely are not. Okay. So I saw that there was a question that Jennifer answered. So yes, you know, first priority is Howard Hanna's mortgage company in New York State. So in other parts of Howard Hanna's footprint, you know, if you were in Pennsylvania, Howard Hanna's mortgage company is called Howard Hanna Mortgage, and same in Ohio. But in New York, because we were part of the blending of Nothnagel and Realty USA, we kept the Realty USA name first priority as part of that process. Okay. Now, what we talked about, you know, getting that customer pre-qualified, pre-approved, we look at first priority, and when you see our logo, we have this little house and it looks like puzzle pieces because there's many different pieces that put together the entire picture.
Hey,
and
Christine, are you sharing? Did you share your screen? Are you?
Oh, I thought I did.
No, we're not seeing it.
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's just been a rough morning, so.
Which is not typical of Christine, by the way.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I did a lot of yard work this weekend. So taking advantage of the nice weather that we're having. So yes, so the first step in our process, we call the Clarity Builder, and that is really the option to get your buyer pre-qualified or pre-approved, okay? So when we look at the options to get someone pre-qualified, and then typically we will take it to be pre-approved, okay? We'll take it that next step. There's a variety of different options. So in all of the offices that you are associated with, you have a mortgage consultant that calls on your office, Okay, so that is a person that you can contact to learn more. So we can do this online, we can do it over the phone, and many of us still meet with clients face to face in, with masks and proper social distancing. So with our website, we do have the opportunity that a client can start this. And this is very helpful to get some of the information, some basic information up front. And very often a client will do this when they're not working. So it might be late at night, on the weekends. So we have a variety of different ways to start the process. Please understand that, if you get a phone call and someone wants to come and see your listing, we definitely want you to do that and get a look at it. Meet with them, have your first substantive conversation, and start that discussion with your clients. Okay. So when you're first meeting with that client, you're going to address agency disclosure, and then the conversations will start. And it needs to be something that you're comfortable with and something that you're going to ask every customer. If you like this listing, the seller is going to expect that you are qualified to be able to purchase this. How are you planning on purchasing it? This needs to be a casual conversation that you have with your clients. How are you planning on paying for it? There's typically two ways to pay for it. You can pay cash or you can get a mortgage. Okay. If they're going to pay cash in the competitive environment that we are in, you will need to supply bank statements, investment statements, however you're planning on paying cash to accompany your offer. Okay. And you may have some pushback that clients feel that's an invasion of privacy, but it is the market that we are in. If they have been pre-qualified, then you should ask that client for a copy of the pre-qual letter, okay, or the pre-approval letter. And again, every lender is going to vary, okay, what their qualifications are. So if they say to you, Dee, I've been pre-qualified by ABC Bank, and you get a copy of that pre-qual letter, and in that copy of the pre-qual letter, it doesn't give you a purchase price, it doesn't give you a mortgage amount, a down payment, interest rate, property taxes, it just says they're qualified for $200,000. No other contingencies, anything like that. And it's by a bank that you don't have locally. Okay. So if you were to guess, if you were competing with a variety of different other offers on the same listing, do you think this pre-qual letter from a bank that is not local and has no other details would be successful in getting your offer accepted? If some of you are shaking your head, I would tend to believe that you are not going to get your offer accepted. Okay. In a competitive environment, if you've got 3 offers with the exact same terms, okay, the exact same price, they're all 10% down, and they're all using lenders for financing, the listing agent and the seller are going to take a look and see where is that financing. Do they have a good reputation? Are they local? Does the listing agent have any experience with them? And especially some of these internet lenders, if many listing agents may not feel that that is a strong offer, because if something were to go wrong, there's nobody that they can call. So in cases like that, many experienced agents, when they are first meeting with that client and they're talking about that the seller is going to expect that you are qualified to buy their house, and how are you planning on paying for it? And you take a look at the pre-qual letter, and that letter is from an internet bank, very often a good buyer's agent will recommend that it might be worth that buyer getting a second opinion, getting a second look, we like to call it. And very often this happens all the time. You know, we'll get a call from an agent. Hey, my buyer got pre-qualified from VA financing in Arizona, but I'd like to see if they could do a VA mortgage here. Would you do a second look on them? And if we get that referral, we're going to give that buyer a $50 Visa card just for taking the time to sit down and meet with us. Okay.
So, Christine, just for a sec, just because you guys, some of you have only had your licenses for like a minute and a half, everybody understands the difference between a local lender and an online lender, right? If you don't, it's okay. Say you don't, because we need to explain that to you. So that second look is just getting at second opinion. And it can be very valuable. Those local lenders, the Christines in the world that you can reach out to, and they answer your phone call on Saturday and Sunday, or at least get back to you within a couple of hours, because maybe they are taking their dog for a walk, as they so have the right to do. I got to see that little dog, Wyatt. It's really important that if you don't understand something, we know it's your first minutes in the business. Stop and ask us. Don't let us talk over your head, because that's not helpful.
And sometimes if it's not making sense to you, I truly believe, trust your instinct, you know, and it doesn't, even if it is a local lender and it's not making sense in your casual conversation with this buyer, then get a second opinion. Something recently happened with a referral partner that I've worked with for 25 years, and the client banks at a local bank here in Rochester, and they got pre-qualified. And the conversation that the buyer was having with this experienced agent did not make sense. So they asked me, would you please do a second look? And I did a video pre-qual with these clients. So we're on the conversation and I start asking the client about their job. Well, they had a traditional employment position, but 3 months ago, due to COVID, that job ended. And now they're freelancing. Okay. And they only have a contract for the next couple of months, but they're like, yeah, I'll get another contract after that. Well, from an underwriting perspective, freelancing is like being self-employed. And underwriting guidelines require you need a 2-year history of being self-employed to be able to count that income. So at that point in time, I started asking more and more questions. And the client said to me, well, why did this bank tell me that I was okay? And I said, did the bank ask you these types of questions? And he said, no. And I said, well, the problem is you would have written an offer and you would have been 2 or 3 weeks in, and then all of a sudden underwriting would have put up a red flag and a stop sign and the deal wouldn't have gone through. So one, no buyer, you want to have any buyer go through that, because there are situations when we pre-qualify people that the answer is, I can't pre-qualify you right now, but I'm going to give you a roadmap to success. And I'm going to help you put together the steps to make this happen. And then there are other times, you know, that it might work out, but in this case, they didn't take the time to ask those questions. And one of the things that we have seen with these internet companies is they're not familiar with New York housing and unfortunately our tax situation. So they're pre-qualifying the people just on their qualifying ratios, but they never address with the buyer how much money it's going to be to close. And if you've never bought a house before and you say, oh, I've got enough money to put 20% down, that's great. But they forget that there's more than just the down payment. There's closing costs. There's your first year of property taxes. There's your first year of homeowners insurance. And depending upon the area, that's pretty expensive. So they think they have enough money for 20% down, but they have no money for closing costs and taxes. So when they finally get someone who can explain the process to them, now we're only in a 10% down situation and so forth. But there is, you know, again, there's no obligation. The client will get the Visa card. It's not going to be at the appointment. We do mail it to them, but it's an opportunity to do that. And let's say too, you had a client that came in And that client was going to a national lender. So when you talk to them, you go, hey, for giggles, we have this great mortgage consultant in our office. It might be worth you to get a second opinion. Well, let's say that national lender did not participate in the Sunny Mae program. So you may or may not know this, but many states across the country have a special first-time homebuyer program. So we in New York have, it's called State of New York Mortgage Agency, or Sunny Mae. Their Sunny Mae came out with $5 million to help people get $30,000 if they fit into certain criteria. So they get $30,000 to use for down payment and closing costs. If their income has to be 60% of median income. So in the Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse area, a 1 or 2 person household, that's $51,000. But we're able to help these people in a lower to moderate income bracket be able to buy a house with 20% down. What a gift. And this down payment assistance loan has no interest rate and no payment. It is secured against the property for 10 years. If they live there 10 years and a day, they just got a $30,000 gift from New York State. So I don't know about you, but I've never gotten, other than a Christmas card from the governor, I've never gotten anything else from New York. So if you went to a national lender, they would not participate in these state programs. So it's another reason. And, think about it, Carolyn, if you had this buyer and they were going to go 5% down with this national lender, but their income was such that they fit into the Sunny Mae program, and now they got $30,000 if they live there for 10 years, that's a gift. Wow. What an amazing thing for that first-time home buyer to build their wealth for their long-term future. So, so that's a great program. So the second opinion, and you look like the hero. And what if that bank had a higher rate than us? So by taking that extra 45 minutes to get a second opinion and you save them money long-term, that looks great. So, and again, in the handouts of some different flyers and stuff that I sent to Maggie on Friday that you have, there's different things about our second look. There's a flyer that talks about the banks last year that we did a lot of second looks against and what our conversion rate was. But 4 out of 5 people end up applying with us. And as Maggie said, we don't like to focus on if something goes wrong, but in business, something can go wrong. And if it does go wrong, people can get a hold of me and a lot of our management team, daytime, nighttime, and weekend, and we will do the best that we can to help these people. So it's, the market is creating its own challenges, but we want to do everything that we can for the buyer to help them work through all of that.
And just so you guys know, fair housing has changed a great deal and it's become more strict. So if you're getting a pre-approval or a pre-qualification from one buyer, guess what? You have to get it from 100% of your buyers. You have to be really, really consistent. It's called establishing a pattern of behavior. I'm not an attorney. I only impersonate one in my closet. So this is, but you must, to protect yourself, you're going to hear this over and over again over the next, however many weeks this is. Whatever you do for one, you must do for all. That's how you protect yourself. Whatever you do for one, you do for all. And it starts with this loan, and start with them meeting with you and getting not a pre-qual, but that pre-approval letter. Start with your loan officer and put them in the best position.
Right. And again, sometimes I call it a spiel, but it should be part of your opening conversation that as you go to look at properties, the seller is going to assume that you are qualified to purchase this home. How are you planning on paying for the home? And again, if it's cash, you need to let them know that they will need to submit financial statements along with their offer. And if it is subject to mortgage, then ask for the pre-qual letter to make sure that you're having that. Now, I will also tell you, in the competitiveness of this market, you may find in the MLS that you will only be able to get an appointment to have your buyer see the property with a pre-approval letter. So I have had that
I
happen
just have a
too.
question too.
Yes, Carolyn.
So if I have a brand new buyer and we tell them, this is our policy now, we have to have a pre-approval before we take you out to, how long does something like that take?
It depends. With a pre-approval letter, remember they're gathering information. So a pre-qual letter we can have done for you probably within a few minutes of getting off the phone.
Okay.
So sometimes what I'll do is I'll at least give you a pre-qual letter, and then I'll ask the buyer, if you want to do a pre-approval, I'll send them a secure email so they can upload pay stubs to me, bank statements, tax returns. It depends on the organization of the client. Some are much better than others. And some people are very good with technology and some people are not. So I've had some cases with the people that don't want to put it online and upload it to a secure email. They've dropped by my office with their paperwork. So that could be later that day or the next day.
Okay.
So it really depends, but a regular pre-qual letter, we can usually issue that very shortly after we conclude the appointment, unless there's something that we need to research. And we need to be careful too. I wouldn't say that, I have to see it, make sure that you're explaining the market, just like Maggie said. So, hey, that listing that we want to go see, in the remarks, we can't schedule an appointment unless you've been pre-approved. So another reason to get that done. Our pre-approval letter is typically good for about 30 days. We just like to refresh the information, and again, if you're seeing they come in and they say they've been pre-approved by, a company that looks like a rocket, and it's dated 6 months ago, we need to relook at that, because the market is different. And especially with COVID, we're having interesting conversations with our buyers today. Not every buyer was gainfully employed all of 2020. So there were some interruptions just due to the pandemic. And in many cases, that may not hinder them. In other cases, it definitely might hinder them. And we need to look at a different approach, or maybe they need to be back to work, so those are some other challenging things. The market is definitely, the buyer, as I like to tell my buyers when they get pre-qualified today, the market is different. So even if they bought a house 10 years ago, I'm like, this is very different. It is like a first date. You've seen that commercial for the laundry detergent and the guy's collar is a mess. And this girl's like, I'm not going to go out with you again. But, when you're putting in an offer today, you need to put your best foot forward. And I had an older gentleman come in and he goes, Christine, I never pay full price for anything. I said, well, then you're not buying a house, because the question is not, are you going to offer full asking price? It's how much over? Well, I'm not going to do that. And I said, well, then I hope you like your current house. I said, because we're going to have to wait till we're back into that marketplace. I said, I get 20 years ago when you bought your house, you negotiated back and forth, you came in low and you came up and you fought back and forth. That doesn't happen, because if there's competitive offers, and in many places now we have delayed negotiations. So the listing goes in, then there are days set aside that, buyers agents can register their buyer to go through the open house. And then they have all offers being accepted. I'm seeing now like on a Wednesday, so that people have had an opportunity to go into the property over the weekend. And I kind of like it when they give a lot of time, because it gives that buyer more time to talk to me or their loan officer. In some cases, to talk to their financial advisor, like, hey, should I take some money out of stocks because I think I need a larger down payment to be competitive? It gives us time. When we don't have a lot of time, I don't think every buyer under pressure wants to make that offer. So there are some different things. In your packet, I showed you a copy of our rate indicator. So every Friday afternoon, we're going to send you an email with just kind of some guidance as to where our more popular programs are interest rate wise. It just always gives you a good feel for how that's, how the market is going. We also have what we like to call 5 under 5. So there are 5 different mortgage programs out there where the buyer can have less than 5% down. Now, in the competitive offer situation, some of these lower down payment transactions are having a hard time getting their offer accepted. I don't really understand why, because there's some great programs, but there are some different mortgage products out there for you to be aware of. So when you hear the word conventional, okay, this is your kind of vanilla product. This is typically when a buyer has some down payment. They're also going to be underwritten to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac standards. Okay, then you have your FHA program. So the FHA program, Federal Housing Administration, it's a division of HUD, Housing and Urban Development. It was created after World War I. Prior to World War I, you had to put 20% down, go conventional. That was the only mortgage product out there. So this was made to help people in our country be able to buy a house. And it only has 3.5% down. The good news is it's more flexible on credit. So in a lot of cases, our borrowers that have had life happen to them might have needed some additional assistance, okay? The VA program is for our veterans, okay? So this would be for anyone who has served our country, anyone who is currently serving our country, and it has been expanded to the reserves in the National Guard. So most veterans are going to walk in the door and tell you, I'm a veteran. And the program offers 0% down payment. And if perchance that veteran has an injury, there's some other benefits for them too. USDA is rural development. Okay, so similar to the people that inspect, your meat and your vegetables, it's kind of the same division, but it is meant to help people in rural situations. Okay, so the property has to fit. Okay, there are income guidelines, but it is property specific. And again, that is offered with no down payment. And then last, but definitely not least, is our Sunny May program. And this is our state of New York first-time homebuyer program. And that's offered with only 3% down. And in case you're asking, what is the definition of a first-time homebuyer? It's someone who has not owned a house in the last 3 years. So if you owned a house and you sold it 10 years ago and you were renting and now you want to buy a house again, you would be considered a first-time homebuyer, even though in your lifetime you've owned a house before. And right now, the first-time homebuyer programs, there are some specialty products. So so far we have 11 people that have been able to get the $30,000. So that's really a very, very special gift. So in your handout, there are some additional reference tools that talk about some of our other mortgage programs. And then I also included our path to home ownership. And when you have, especially a first-time home buyer or someone who has not owned a house in a while, it's hard to imagine the complexity that we have right now in purchasing a home. And there are so many people that are involved that your clients may not ever know that they were helping. But as I like to say, that it takes a village. So just like it takes villages to raise our young people today, it takes a village of people to get us from start to finish. And you'll see the different puzzle pieces along the way that talk about the different steps. And I find that this is very helpful to help our customers and so forth. But most importantly, when you finish and you close on that transaction and the client gets to move in, it is most important to our organization at First Priority that we did create a raving fan, not only with our borrowers, but also with you as our realtor referral partner. because both of you are very, very important to us. As I always train new loan officers, I tell them we have two customers on every transaction. One is the actual borrower and the other one is you. Because having a great working relationship between yourself and your lending partner is something that will take you leaps and bounds, because every situation is different. But this is a nice handout. At the end of our conversation, I'm going to ask you all to email me your name and what office that you're going to be with, so that I can make sure, if you have not yet met your first priority mortgage consultant, that they connect with you. So each of us have some of these flyers that are personalized. And I know for many agents and many offices, they like having this in their buyer packet. So when they first meet with the buyer, they're kind of explaining it. And when you look at, some of the characteristics of some of our buyers today, having information is critical, and people like to know what to expect. And I just think that this is a very helpful tool. Okay. So also in your handout, I gave you a quick reference application, and these are the documents that we might ask the people for. Okay, so if perchance we've gotten pre-qualified and at your suggestion, we want to take this to a pre-approval, we're definitely, going to ask for some of this. And then I also sent you a glossary of terms. So as you learn the real estate industry and the lending industry and the attorney industry and so forth, we use a lot of acronyms. And it was very hard for me to understand a lot of them. So I just sent you this glossary of terms in case, you want to have that. But if I can leave you with any thoughts and suggestions today, and I started in the lending arena full-time at the end of 1986. So I know I don't look it, but I'm coming into 35 years with this company. And I started back when I was 14, just answering the phones and doing grunt work for my dad's real estate company. So I've been around a long time and through the ebbs and flows of this market. And, back in the very late 80s, when interest rates were 16, 17, 18%, we used to have to send clients to their accountants to figure out what the tax rate would be owning a house so we could add their tax refund back to getting them to qualify. And we've come a long way. And interest rates, they're in the threes right now. And if you listen to Yellen, if you listen to our Federal Reserve Chairman, everything for this year, there may be a slight increase to interest rates, but no one is talking about a dramatic, change. Interest rates are critical for the recovery coming out of the pandemic. Lower interest rates help businesses to borrow more affordably. They help people in home ownership, and home ownership spurs so much other retail business. So it is highly likely that we will stay in the threes. Okay, so interest rates are still going to be good. I hope that we continue to get more listings, so the amount of buyers and listings are more in line, because I think that makes everyone a little more comfortable. But the biggest thing, if you can leave from today, just like Maggie mentioned about fair housing, you need to be comfortable having that initial conversation with a potential buyer about the seller expecting that they can qualify. How are they planning to pay for it? Okay. And asking for documentation. And when you take a look at that pre-qual or pre-approval letter, offer the second opinion. Okay. Let's get this information from one of your trusted advisors. And for taking the time, hey, they get a $50 gift card. It's better than a stick in the eye. All right. And we might be able to do something better for them. When you meet with someone and they want to come see your listing, okay, and they don't have an agent, you're going to have these same conversations with them. Please don't go and show them 6 other houses before you know if they're qualified. okay? Value your time, okay, and your resources, and make sure that, you know, everyone is treated the same and you ask those same questions. Because if I only ask, what do you make? And I don't ask, how are you paid? Are you paid hourly? You know, if you've got someone in the medical field, okay, in Rochester, our biggest employer is the University of Rochester and Strong Hospital. Well, I've done a ton of nurses' mortgages. They all work different shifts. Some are full-time at 32 hours. Some work 35. Some work 37 and a half. Some work 40. Some only work the weekend shift and then they get a shift differential. So if I just say, hey, I'm a nurse and I make $60,000 a year, and I don't devil down to ask more questions, and they've only been a nurse for 6 months, I might not be able to use that overtime, okay, to qualify. You've got to have a referral partner that's going to take the time to look at this closely and make sure that they're there. So please feel comfortable with that opening statement and take a look at the pre-qual letter. And if there's an option to do a second look, then let us help you. And even if we're reaffirming that the first one was correct, you know, trust your gut. If it just doesn't seem right, then I think it's going to be okay. Okay. And we'll take a look at that. And, you know, if perchance someone's offering something that we can't, we're going to let you know too. But at least you have the information from a trusted partner to know if we can make this correct or not. You know, again, the environment that we're in is, you know, presents its own challenges, but having, you know, your partner to just bounce some ideas off of, and the same if you're the listing agent. If you're the listing agent and you've got offers coming in and you're helping your seller to evaluate all those offers, you need to have an understanding of where that buyer is going for their mortgage and the terms of that so that you can properly give the advice to your seller. Okay. So, so you see here my email address, and if you're in your Howard Hanna email, if you click in the directory and you type in Christine, there'll be a lot of us listed. You can pick me in that lineup, but please send me your name, your cell phone number, your email address, and particularly what office you're going to be in. Okay. And if perchance, you know the region. So if you're a Southern tier, you're Syracuse, you're Buffalo, you're Rochester, you're Capital, that would be helpful too, because I don't know every single branch, but happy to look that up. And we will connect you with our partner here at First Priority and our mortgage consultant. So before we talk about the home warranty program, does anyone else have any questions or additional concerns?
This is your time to ask questions, guys.
And again, I do apologize for the timing, but your mortgage consultant's going to be your best line of defense. And don't worry, they have a hotline to me too. But if you do have any unique situations, and this is not only just the buyer, I get, especially after I do training classes, I'll get emails from different agents across the state like, hey, I'm listing a house with a buried oil tank. What should I be careful of? Or we have one right now that you got to drive through a campground to get to the house. I have never heard of this before, but there are sometimes some very unique properties, and how we might treat that in lending. If you're going on this listing appointment, let's vet out the properties so that we can properly list it up front and set the right expectations with the seller, because there are some properties that traditional financing is not going to work. So I might be able to recommend, if your house is only 500 square feet, but you've got 50 acres and an indoor horse arena, that might be more of a farm than it would be a residential property. But if you get a call like that, please talk to our mortgage consultant or feel free to call or email me directly.
Christine, real quick, I'm sorry, I just had a question. You mentioned about not taking people to see the listings until you get the pre-qual or the pre-approval. But if you do have somebody who has said that they're going to pay cash, then do you hold off until you have some of the documents that you discussed before you show a listing?
That is a very tricky question, Terry. So, because, I mean, I was brought up in a family, you don't talk about that. You don't share that kind of stuff. And I think you're going to have some clients that would be uncomfortable to share. I think I would tell them, we may be asked that, certain listings, the seller has the right to ask for proof of funds before they will allow us to see that. So I would lay the groundwork for them. I don't think I would ask for it,
Mhm.
but I would again ask them, what is their comfort zone? What is their maximum property? And prepare them that, in the competitiveness of the market, the seller may ask for the right of a pre-approval letter or proof of funds before they will agree on the appointment. So set the
Yeah.
groundwork.
Terry, as a listing agent myself, I have in my private notes, all offers to be accompanied by pre-approval or proof of funds letter that comes
Okay.
from on letterhead from either a bank or a financial. I once received an ATM receipt, not proof of funds. I also received a realtor's word, oh no, their house is sold, they have the money. House hadn't even hit the market, but the
Mhm.
realtor didn't know because she didn't get the information. So to get into this particular market, you're going to say, for us to put the best foot forward, we're going to need proof of funds letter. It doesn't have to say how much their funds are, but that they have it maybe to a maximum,
Okay.
you're gonna have to have a cap. Jen?
Yeah, Terry, because you're in my marketplace and yeah, it's setting the expectations right from day one
Yeah.
to explain to the buyers, like, yep, this is how it goes right now in this market. It's,
Well, the timing of this is good because this is what I'm dealing with. And I asked about a pre-approval letter, and the woman I'm working with or starting to work with said she's paying cash. So I was like, oh, good.
Well, and that's great, but just explain to her that a listing agent may require a letter showing proof of funds.
Okay.
And if I was the listing agent, that's what I would require because, talk is free. And a lot of people who say they're going to pay cash wind up getting a mortgage anyway, but that's a whole nother discussion for another day. But I'm going to jump on my soapbox right quick just for a moment. And probably all of you are too new to have not gone through your real estate board orientation. But just so you all are aware, once you join the board, you now become a realtor, which is a designation. It's a capital R for a reason. And it does hold you to a higher standard than a regular salesperson within the state of New York. One of those reasons is that you agreed to never show a home to someone unless they're ready, willing, and able to buy. And a lot of agents, as we go down the road, sort of forget that. Talk to your manager about your local process. Some agents are like, oh, I give everybody one freebie, but there is nothing worse than showing somebody a $500,000 house when they can really only afford a $300,000 house, and because they'll wind up hating everything in their price range. So, and again, this is the conversation you need to have with these buyers and sellers, for that matter, from the very beginning, to say, this is sort of how it goes. So that's why you all are here, to sort of learn the word tracks of what to say to these people, so there aren't any, horrible surprises along the way.
Caroline?
Yes.
Caroline, did
Yes.
you have a question?
Nope.
Oh, you have a little hand up.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So one of the most important things you guys are going to do before we get to Mike McKenzie, and I'm just burning time so you don't have to listen to him, because gosh, actually we love Mike. So anyway, one of the most important things you're going to do is, first of all, meet your first priority bank loan officers. then you're going to want to meet other loan officers around your community because of things like portfolio loans and odd programs that some banks may have. And your first priority loan officers are going to be your best resource to help you find where to go. If they don't have it, they'll help you. They'll direct you in the right direction. So don't be afraid to ask them. Use them as a resource. One thing I always do on day one is I want all of you to unmute yourselves for 1 second. I do want you to talk over each other for this one. So if we say, if you don't know an answer and you need to get an answer, who are you going to call? Here's the answer. It's my manager. So who are you going to call if you have a question?
My manager.
Okay, who are you going to call if you have a buyer's appointment?
My manager.
My manager. Who are you going to call if you have a listing appointment?
My manager.
Who are you going to call if you're filling out paperwork for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time?
My manager.
Okay, this is the answer. You are always going to loop your manager into every single piece of your business in the beginning. In the first year, let them know everything you're doing. Let them see your face. Let them see you active. Agents who are known to be working in their business, guess what? You get more business by virtue of doing your business. So the answer to all questions is
My manager.
My
Manager.
there you go. And then you have your second line of defense, which is a mentor if you're on a team and your education department. And then all of these other vendors that you're going to get to know because we are part of your team. Whether you're an individual agent or your team agent, you have a team if you build it correctly. So Christine would be on your team, Mike will be on your team, Jen, Natalie, and I'll be on your team and lots of other people. And most importantly, who's on your team?
My
manager.
There you go. All right. I'm going to ask you this throughout the next few weeks. Christine, as always, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I hope it calms down for you.
Thank you, Christine.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. And then Mike is our HSA warranty rep. We're going to let him introduce himself and I'll shut up.
Well, we don't want you to shut up, Maggie. That's not nice. You shouldn't say that to yourself. So that's me. Anyway, good morning, everyone. I'm so glad you sent me the Zoom link, Maggie, because I'm like, oh, I almost forgot because it's Monday and it moved up a few hours too. So I forgot. So, but it's all good. So good morning, everyone. I am Mike McKenzie. I am the HSA account manager for the state of New York. So every Howard Hanna office in New York State, that's me. So just real kind of quick. I know you guys are new to real estate, to doing warranties and things like that. We've been partners with Howard Hanna for 33 years now, roughly in that range. We have known them for a long time. We're part of American Home Shield, so if you ever watch HGTV or actually some other stations out there too, as I'm doing work every day, I always have my TV on, I see an American Home Shield commercial come up. That's our parent company. So if you've ever seen one of those commercials, that's part of our family of warranties as well too. So, but if you ever have questions about the warranty, you don't have to call your manager. You can, but you can call me. You can call your manager and they're going to say, call Mike. So you can just skip the middleman on that one and just call, or middle person on that one and just call me. So anyway, but I am Mike McKenzie, the account manager for New York. May 17th is the date, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So just want to kind of go over some things. Warranties are something that are really not well known in the state of New York. Why exactly, I don't know. They're used all over the country. Some states, Texas, California, places like that, it's in the 90% of houses that are being sold have warranties on them. New York is a lot less. And this is kind of why this is really important, because this can help you grow your business. It can help your clients. It can make a deal go through potentially by using a warranty. And I'm going to kind of go over some of these things here. If you want to let me get to the end, and then if you have questions, I'll be more than happy to answer whatever questions you have. So, all right. So kind of first and foremost, what is a home warranty? Well, it's a 1-year service contract that covers the repair or replacement of many of the major home system components and appliances that will typically break down over time. And this is a key phrase here, due to normal wear and tear. If it's man-made, it's going to eventually break, okay? Now, you notice I didn't say that it has to be a certain age. We don't care how old something is. When something's made, the manufacturer intends for it to, function for X amount of years, okay? Whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. And we understand that. So if you have a 1-year-old furnace, it's going to operate more efficiently than a 15 or 20 or 25-year-old furnace, but it's still working when it's 20 or 25 years old, and that's okay. So that's what we want people to know, is that if you get the warranty started and it's operating normally according to its age, then that's all we really care about, okay? So just kind of think about that normal wear and tear phrase. All right, so here's some commonly used terms, and you may hear that normal wear and tear again. Normal wear and tear. It's when a system fails due to normal age and use, okay? And that's what I was getting at. A 15-year-old water heater is still working according to its age, and that's okay. It's still working the way that it's supposed to. That's fine. Again, we don't discriminate based on age of the material, of the items that are out there, so that's okay. So when you have a homeowner, whether it's a buyer or seller, that's concerned about the age of the equipment, whether it's, like I said, the furnace, the AC, the water heater, whatever, the refrigerator, stove, anything, the things that we cover, and it's older, a lot of times your buyer may say, well, I really don't want that house because it's got a 15-year-old furnace, or it's got a 15-year-old water heater. If it's working, that's okay, because if they move in and it fails, that's something we would cover, okay, as long as it's working before the warranty starts. So that's just something to kind of think about, okay? Pre-existing issue is something that would have happened prior to the coverage being started. So if you have a warranty that gets put in place today and someone calls us tomorrow and says, oh, my furnace isn't working and there's a gigantic hole in the heat exchanger, well, that didn't happen really in one day, okay? Something like that takes a little bit of time for it to develop. Water heaters are a little different because those things can fail at any time. So pre-existing is something that when we go, they would call in for a claim, they would, get someone out there to look at it. The service vendors that are in the network that work in plumbing, electrical, HVAC, those different trades, they're going to come in and they're going to do a diagnosis on it. And they're going to say, okay, this failed from normal wear and tear. Now, when they call that diagnosis into us for us to say, yeah, go ahead and fix it, or let's get it replaced, we know exactly when the warranty started, because everything, when it gets put in, it's basically date timestamp. So if I put one in over the weekend, like I just put one in for a homeowner on Saturday, if they call in today for a claim on the water heater, yeah, there's a really good chance we're going to cover that because it was put in on Saturday, and water heaters again fail at any time. So we kind of look at that too to see if it's something that would have failed after this warranty has already started. Okay, so that's just something to kind of think about. And then potential coverage, whenever somebody calls in to file that claim, like I said, we're going to say, yes, there's potential coverage on it until that vendor gets out there to take a look at it, to call it in, to tell us what their professional opinion is on it, so we can make that determination of if was it normal wear and tear or was it a pre-existing issue. Okay, so everything's potentially covered. But just so you have an idea, I've been in this really since 2013. We cover about 93% of all items called in us. Okay, so it's got to be really blatantly obvious that it was something that was a pre-existing issue for us not to cover it. Okay, all right. So understanding the warranty contract. Okay, we do coverage for the mechanical system and components and parts that fail. Again, here's that phrase: normal wear and tear. Okay, there should be a test at the end of this, and I would make sure that's one of the questions. The basic plan that we have, the $500 plan, covers the parts or the items and labor to install that. Okay. We covered the covered systems and appliances are things like the kitchen appliances, heating and cooling systems, plumbing, electrical, garage door opener. The actual warranty agreements, the actual brochure has a full list of the items and the descriptions of them. There's a sample contract in there. Think of Peach, plumbing, electrical, appliances, cooling, and heating. Okay, that's the main thing. And then we do things like, garage door openers, which actually falls under electrical. So, but just think of Peaches when you think of the warranty. Additional buyer options available for purchase. You can purchase the washer and dryer. There's water softeners, water well pump and septic, hot tubs, swimming pools, electronics plan, things like that. And again, that's all in the brochure as well too. That kind of tells you there. The buyer 7-star upgrade, it's an additional $149, but it enhances that basic coverage for a lot of the things that are out there. So for instance, like where it says includes coverage for permits, modifications, disposal fees, and much more. Just for instance, water heaters, because that's one of the biggest things that always fails in somebody's house. If you have a basic plan, the one that's the $500 plan, and the water heater goes, we're going to replace that water heater with a like for like. So if it's a 50-gallon water heater and it fails, we're going to get someone out there. They're going to say, yep, we're going to get it replaced with a 50-gallon water heater. But the haul away of the disposal fee, that's not covered under the basic plan. That's anywhere from, I've seen 65 to 150 bucks. Okay. They will typically have to make modifications of some sort. So when you put the water heater in, a lot of times they have to replace that gas line. Okay. That's something that's not covered under the basic plan, but it would be covered under that 7-star upgrade. Sometimes they have to make modifications to the venting of the water heater. So, you putting a new one in where an old one was, sometimes things just don't fit correctly. So we cover up to $500 worth of modification costs for the 7-star upgrade for any of those items. We do, permits, we do, code upgrades, things like that. It can truly, truly help out and save them money. Again, I'm not trying to upsell, I make salary. So it's something I just want the homeowners and for you to know what that is. So when you talk to them and explain it, I'm always happy to talk to your clients too. So if you're doing this and you introduce the warranty to a potential seller or buyer, and they have any interest at all, let me know. I talk to homeowners every day of the year. Okay, almost every day of the year. I do talk to them all the time. And I explain what it is. I send them information, let them make an informed decision. If they don't want it, they don't want it. That's okay. But my job is to make sure that they know what it is that's available to them. All right. Requesting service. They can go online to myhomewarranty.com or online HSA. Okay, it's pretty simple. They have to actually create a profile on the My Home Warranty site, online HSA. They just put the address and stuff in. They go on. It'll know what the address is. It will see what they have coverage for. If it's the seller during the listing period, they have certain things they can do. If it's the buyer after they move in, it's what they have coverage for, and they can create a claim right online. Okay. They can call the 800 number. It's 800-367-1448. I've had 14 claims on my own house in almost 5 years, and I've gone to the website every single time to do mine. So if you go online to do it, it's basically the same thing as if you call the number, you just don't have to talk to anybody. And I honestly think that's easier to do because you're going to be notified of who the vendor is, what their phone number is, their name, all that kind of stuff when you get that. So I think going online is easier, honestly. But once they go on, whether they call or they go to the website, we will assign a qualified home repair professional for whatever trade it is to handle those covered requests. The assigned service tech will call that homeowner within 24 hours. So what I always tell everybody, the homeowners, is as soon as you go on to do that, you get notified of who it is, call them immediately. And you can tell them, hey, you were just assigned to my claim. This is my address. The old adage, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you call them immediately, they're going to more than likely get you scheduled. Okay. And now we are not an emergency service. So we are basically Monday through Friday, 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning till, 5 o'clock or so in the evening. There are times where the homeowner can't be there at a certain time for this or that. So you can work directly with those vendors to get set up for a time. And a lot of times the vendors will come out either in the evening time or early in the morning or potentially on a weekend, something like that, if you can work it out with them. So, but okay. So seller benefits. So just a quick question, and this is kind of rhetorical. When someone's selling a house, who's responsible for that house? And up until it closes, it's the seller, right? So what we do is we offer complimentary coverage for that seller. So if you are lucky enough to be the listing agent and you're able to say, thank you for letting me be your realtor. These are all the benefits Howard Hanna has. You do the 100% back money guarantee. You can do all the other stuff that's out there. If they want to put a warranty on as an enticement for a buyer, which right now we all know it's a seller's market. But I have a lot of sellers that will still put it on because they want it to be a good transaction. They want it to be something where they don't have to worry about things after they close. They don't, especially if they have older mechanicals in the house. They don't want the buyer to move in and go, oh, you know what? They knew that water heater was going to go. They knew that furnace was going to go. They knew the refrigerator was old and it was going to fail. A lot of sellers will say, look, I'm just going to add this on. That way, when I move out of the house, I feel good about it. The buyer has coverage. The buyer can call HSA. HSA will take care of those items. Okay. And instead of the seller having to put money into escrow, a lot of times buyers will want that because it's older mechanicals. This is a good way to do this. So $500 or even $649 if they want to add that 7-star on for the buyer is a lot cheaper than them having to put $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 into escrow. Okay. But we do cover the seller complimentarily during the listing period. We don't automatically cover the heat and air. That's an HVAC option. That is an extra $60, and that extra $60 will get that seller up to $1,500 worth of HVAC coverage during the listing period. The buyer gets a different amount when they close. The buyer will automatically get HVAC coverage, but it is something that the seller can opt into. Okay. We do it so if you have the seller, we do it for 6 months at a time. So if you list it today and no one has purchased that house in the first 6 months, if it comes up for relisting with you and they still want to keep everything and they want to keep the warranty in place, that you just let us know. We extend it for another 6 months, no additional costs involved with that. Okay. We just go in the system, hit extend, and it extends for 6 more months. So up to a year, you would have this. Now, there is no cost on the warranty until it closes, and only if it closes. And so that's one of the really good benefits of this, is that the seller can offer this. They can get complimentary coverage during the listing period, and they don't pay anything for this until it closes. And like I said, only if it closes. That's the nice part about this. So if they find something out, so let's say that they list their house and, a week or two later on, their water heater goes. They give us a call. There is something that's called a trade service fee, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But it's basically like a trip charge for the vendors to come out. They're gonna get that water heater replaced. Okay. Now they may have some out-of-pocket expenses, like I explained earlier, how the basic plan doesn't cover like the modifications, things like that. But they're getting a brand new water heater with potentially maybe having to pay a couple $100 out of pocket for the new gas line, for the modifications, for the haul away of the old equipment. And we are covering the entire water heater itself in the basic installation. So we're still saving them, close to $1,000. Okay. But if they have that HVAC option as well, we would still cover up to $1,500 during that listing period. And I did have a house, I want to say 3 summers ago, maybe 4 summers ago, that was in Albany that listed. It was really, really nice big house. They had an 80-gallon water heater. That failed as soon as they listed the house. That was over $2,000 that we covered. And then a couple of weeks later, their AC system failed. We paid another $1,500. So we already paid $3,500 into this house, and it never sold. And if for some reason, if that home would have been taken off the market, we would have eaten $3,500. Okay. So we kind of take the risk, hopefully that the seller sees this benefit. If you can explain it to them, or if they have questions, they can always talk to me. But we want them to have this. We want you to be able to offer it as a benefit to them to help you, get that listing. Okay. So that's just one of the nice things about this. And like I said, it is a powerful marketing tool because you can help set their home apart from others on the market, because like I mentioned earlier, not many people know what a home warranty is. And so if you use this and you market it saying, hey, this home has a home warranty on it, it can help, that seller during the listing period. It can help the buyer, and I'll get to that in just a second too. The buyer can use this as part of their offer to the seller, but it's something that can be there. And if this home never closes, they don't owe us anything. Okay, so it's kind of a win-win-win for everybody. All right. So like I mentioned just a minute ago, okay, there's stuff that is complimentary for the seller and buyer. So when you get the brochure, when you open it up, it's like this, I think it's when you open up that front cover on the right-hand side, it's going to say, understand your home warranty. And you see this as the basic plan. This is the one for $500. You've got two columns. One says seller, one says buyer. So everything under the seller column with a check mark is what they get complimentarily throughout that listing period up until closing. All right. And then in the right-hand column under buyer, the buyer gets everything that's here. That's something that they can use to, if something goes wrong, if they have a water heater goes or the refrigerator goes or something like that happens, they can get coverage from us. And again, if that home never closes, even if they've had work done, okay, I've had it before where people have had their stove replaced and they had to take the house off the market for whatever reason. They had some sort of issue in the family where they just weren't able to sell the house at that time. You let us know, we get it all taken, it's all taken off the market. They don't owe us anything on the warranty. Okay. So it's kind of a win-win, like I said, for them too. So this to me is the most important page out of the entire brochure, is that page 3 of the PDF, or when you open that front cover, you look on the right-hand side. I think that's the most important page. The next one is the buyer 7-star upgrade. That's the one I mentioned. As it says in the title, it's buyer 7-star upgrade. So this wouldn't apply for the seller, even if the seller's offering it, but it helps enhance that basic warranty. And it does go, there's a lot of extra coverage. If you used everything on here, you could get several $1,000s worth of extra coverage on here, honestly. So it's just something just to think about. If someone's really money conscious or whatever, it is an extra $149. But if you've got a buyer that's moving into a home, a lot of times they're paying way over asking price and they don't have 2 nickels to rub together. So this extra $149 could potentially save them a lot of money, especially if there's older mechanicals, older things in the house that we could help cover that would not cost them extra out of pocket. Okay. Now, we don't cover everything in a house too. I mean, please remember that. Please don't go through and tell your clients, oh yeah, HSA covers everything. We don't cover windows and doors. We don't cover mold, mildew, cracks in foundations, things like that. If you have like the windstorms that we get in the spring and the fall up here in New York, a lot of times you get like the shingles get all blown off because these windstorms come through. We don't cover things like that. We do cover for a buyer if they have like an everyday run-of-the-mill average roof leak. Okay, so if you've got old shingles that are kind of curled up, but they're still there, water sometimes will get under there, it'll cause a leak. We do cover things like that, but we don't cover around skylights. We don't cover around the flashing around a fireplace that would come down if it's like, peeling away from the chimney. Things like that we don't cover. That's considered homeowner maintenance on there. If you have debris that hits a roof and causes damage or things like that, that's all stuff that a homeowner's policy would cover. So we work in conjunction with the homeowner's policy as opposed to against it. So there are things that they would cover that we don't, and things that we cover that they don't. And think of it this way too, we don't cover secondary damage. So if a homeowner has a water heater that drips everywhere or the bottom falls out, we're going to cover that tank itself and the installation and that kind of thing. But if it ruins a nice floor, if it damages carpet, if like the water comes out and it goes all through the house, that's something that a homeowner's policy would definitely help with as opposed to us. So we don't do the secondary part. All right. Okay, so these are some more buyer optional things. Electronics plan. This just changed, and I don't remember the name of the company that it's with. I think the pricing's still the same, but it has changed a little bit as far as who does it. Water well pump, water softener, things like that. That's all in there. Okay, so buyer benefits. It helps that buyer be prepared for the unexpected. So let's say you have a buyer, which is what most everybody does, because if you're lucky enough to get a seller, that's a good thing. Most everybody's fighting for the buyers or buyers, but they're fighting for the houses right now. So if a buyer does want to do this, buyers can do this too. So if the seller is not offering the warranty, which it's kind of 50-50 right now, but if a seller is not offering the warranty on their home, a buyer can do this as part of their offer. It's something we call sweeten the deal, and I can go into that in a second as well. But it helps that buyer be prepared for the unexpected. Okay, they can call us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They can go online to do it. They can, file their claims. And again, like I mentioned, we're not an emergency service, but they can still file their claims 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to do that. It is renewable annually. The price will go up from the first year to the second year. It really depends a lot if they have a lot of claims. If you've noticed, if you've watched the news, you know that the price of gas has gone up. You know that the price of materials has gone up. That there's a lot of factors that are involved with that. It does go up in price anyway, but there are some other factors that will make that price variable. Okay, and I don't have anything to do with that, so don't call and yell at me if it goes up higher than they thought. But it is renewable annually. What's nice about that, though, is that at the end of the first year, when it goes up, we let them know 2 months or so in advance. If it is something that they want to do, they're able to pay for it month to month at that point. So they can say, all right, well, it went from $500 for the basic plan, went up to $650, okay, or whatever it goes up to. They can pay for it month to month. We don't charge any kind of extra fees or whatever if they want to, but they can pay for it. They just take that new amount divided by 12. That's what their new amount would be. Okay. But it is something that they can renew year after year if they want to do it. And I have a lot of people renew. Okay. Buyers also have up to 90 days after they close to do this. It used to be 60 and it just went up about a month ago. It went up to 90 days now after closing. So if a seller's not offering it, if the buyer's unsure if they want to do this, they can get to closing and say, you know what, I'm thinking about doing this. I've had people call me right at like 86 days and say, you know what, I want to do this now. They can still do it for the same price. It would start the day that they put it in the system. Okay. So even if they closed today, today's the 17th, so June, July, August. So they'd have like basically till like the middle of August. If they did that, it would start when they put it in. So if something were broken prior to them calling, we wouldn't be able to cover it, but it would start the day they did it. They have up to 90 days to do this. All right. So agent benefits. Okay, and I'm gonna go back to this real quick. I'm gonna go back to the buyer benefits. One more thing to think about, and this is something we call sweeten the deal. If you have a seller that's not offering the warranty and you have multiple offers on a house, a way for a buyer to make their offer stand out, to sweeten the deal to the seller, is to say that they will purchase a warranty if the offer gets accepted. Now, you're like, well, why would they do that? Remember when I first said, who's responsible for that house until it closes? It's that seller. So if a buyer comes in and says, okay, here's my offer, I'm going to offer X amount of dollars, whatever they're looking to, pay to that house. But to enhance that offer, they could say, look, we're going to put a warranty on because the buyer can pay for this too. And if the buyer does this and the seller accepts it, they can do it. It gets put in the system. We extend the seller coverage from acceptance of that offer until closing. And then the buyer still gets it for a whole year from the date of closing. And that's the nice part about this, is that the buyer will always get it for one full year, whether they buy it or whether the seller offers it. Okay. So we're not going to ever try to short that buyer coverage time. We just extend that seller's coverage complementarily for that buyer or seller, depending who's going to do it. So it's a way to enhance the offer for the seller from the buyer, because it'll give that seller hopefully something tangible to look at, especially if they have older mechanicals, something we may be able to help them. Even if we don't pay for the whole amount of a new furnace or whatever the case is, we're still going to help save them money. Okay, so hopefully they can see that, and it's a way for that buyer to really start the history of the house early. So if you put it in place today and it doesn't close until July, that house has had 2 months of coverage on it before it ever closes. So if someone calls in, remember what I had talked about, the pre-existing issue. If you've got a home that has 2 months of coverage and the day you call in, there's a claim, there's already been 2 months of coverage on there. So it's something we're going to most likely be able to cover. So it's kind of a win-win for them. And again, they don't pay anything extra for that to have coverage in place. So if you have questions on that, please just reach out and let me know. I explain this every day, and I talk to homeowners, sellers, buyers, other agents every day about this. All right. Okay. So agent benefits, okay, risk management, always, and like I was just saying, always be the resource, not the source. So if your clients have questions, let them know, hey, I don't know all the answers, but I'll get you in touch with Mike, or here's Mike's information. I have agents all the time, and I see this all the time. Agents will send an email. They will put me in there, and they'll put their clients in there. Mike meet Sam, Sam meet Mike. Okay, and you two talk. And I reach out to them and say, hey, call me when you got a chance, or let me know what questions you have. And I will reach out to them, or they can reach out to me, and I'm always happy to answer their questions. But always think of it this way too. Talk to your clients about the warranty. At least introduce it to them and say, hey, we have this other tool for you to have with your house. If you want it, great. If you don't want it, that's okay too. But treat all your clients equally. Okay. Don't say you don't need this. They may not want it, or they may not need it, but at least introduce it to them. Let them make that informed decision. Let them make that decision for themselves instead of you doing it. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've had a lot of homeowners say, my agent never even talked to me about a warranty, or my agent told me, here, just sign off on the form. You don't want this, or you don't need this. Okay. And then lo and behold, something would happen where the water heater would go, or the dishwasher would go, or the sump pump would go, something like that we cover failed. And then they had no idea about the warranty, and who got stuck paying for it? The buyer. And so then they got really mad at their agent because they didn't know anything about it. So at least talk to them about it, give them the paperwork. I think you have to have them sign off a waiver anyway if they don't want it. I'm always happy to talk to them for you. And I don't just say that just to say it. I truly mean it. I do talk to homeowners almost every day. I was talking to homeowners over the weekend. I was talking, I always talk to them. So if you need me to help you, I'm happy to do it. Okay. So just don't think you're bothering me. That's my job. Okay.
Mike's great at talking to people. I just wanted to say, so we talked about this in the banking section. If you offer this to one buyer or one seller, who do you have to offer it to? Unmute yourself and tell me.
Everyone.
Everyone.
If you offer it to
Everyone.
one, you must offer it to everyone. Otherwise, it can be considered a fair housing violation. I know that seems like a stretch, but it's not, because somebody can say, well, they don't like the name Jason, and that's why they didn't do it for me. They don't like blue-eyed people, and that's why they didn't do it. And guess what? If you did it for one, but you didn't do it for somebody else, why? It's pretty hard to defend. I didn't think they need it is not a justifiable position. So be really careful. And I can't stress enough how much I love Mike. When I first started with the company, I heard about HSA. I just picked up the phone every time and said, hey, signing somebody up. Can you talk to them? Can you talk to me? Can you explain this to me? He's so responsive. We really love Mike because he is just a really good rep.
Don't tell people that, then they're going to call me.
I know. And we
Whatever,
want you
yeah.
to just
Call
bombard
job
him with
security.
phone calls.
I know.
Just bombard him. Just call him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
Just drive him crazy.
Please do that so I can have my phone muted at like 3 a.m. because I don't usually answer my phone that late time of night. But I have sat here, I have been watching TV, I get texts or emails sometimes at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I respond to somebody. They say, well, why didn't you wait till tomorrow? I was like, because you emailed me now. So if I see it, I will certainly respond back as soon as possible. There's times where I see something come in, or if I'm making dinner, or whatever, if I'm out somewhere, I'll even come home and I'll sit down like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I'll send out a quick email, or I'll answer something. People say, well, why'd you do that? It's like, because you emailed me. So anyway,
Mike
I don't
was
like
at
to
a
wait longer if I don't have to.
You
So
were either at a wedding or a funeral. I don't remember. He was at a big family event out of state once, and I was brand new. And he said, I'm not covering. Here's the person. If you don't hear back from them, let me know. And he called 24 hours later or 12 hours later and just made sure that I got taken care of. I did get taken care of by the person who was covering him, but he checked up.
I try to, yeah.
He's
And
great.
just so you know, we have a team concept. So, my boss is Nikki Taylor. She's down in Pennsylvania. I've got other folks that are on my team We handle Eastern Ohio, Eastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, and I have all of New York State. And if I'm out for some reason, I've got someone on my voicemail or on my email that you can reach out to just as well. But we do cover for each other a lot. So you may see things that will come in. If you have a client that's got a claim, for instance, you may get an email from someone named Karen Pankratz. She's our field sales coordinator. She'll send out emails saying, hey, just letting you know that, John Smith had a claim for a dishwasher of $463.28 on such and such date, or a new water heater, or a new this or new that. So we send out claims cards in email to you, anytime that there's a claim. It's anything over $250. We do a lot of claims, but sometimes they're under 250, so you may not know about it. But if it's over 250, you're going to get something like that. We send out a thank you email saying, hey, thank you for signing up such and such home. If we run into an issue where we have questions, or if we see something's going to expire, say like you've got a home that's listed and it's going to go past the expiration date, that 6-month window, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to say, hey, this is going to expire. Should this be extended, or should it be canceled out? So we have a team concept. A lot of folks that are out there, you're going to hear from me most of the time, but there's other people on my team that if you do hear from someone else, we're not trying to spam you. We're not trying to, sell your information somewhere. We just all like to work together because we have one big team that we're on. So I help out people down in Pennsylvania and Ohio and vice versa. So you may hear from other people as well. But, okay. So just kind of real quick, if you use the warranty, it can help you win more listings. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, it's going to help that home stand out. And so will you, because so many agents, not even just in Howard Hanna, but all across the state, they don't even think about warranties. Okay. I do work with other companies as well too, but Howard Hanna is by far the biggest, warranty user in the state. It can help protect your client's budget in low inventory markets. And again, like I said, you've got buyers that are putting in such big amounts over the asking price. A lot of times they don't have any extra cash when they close. So this can kind of help them do that. But a lot of times your seller, they don't have a lot of cash either. Everything's tied up in their house. They're trying to sell their house so they can downsize or they can do whatever. A lot of times they don't have a lot of extra cash either. So this warranty can help them out too. Okay. So it's kind of a dual-edged sword. We can help both sides of this. Okay. It can build strong client relationships, because if you've got a transaction that's going along and the furnace goes, or the water heater goes, or the whatever goes, and sometimes the other side's like, well, I don't have money to fix this. Well, then that deal's going to potentially die, right? Or it's going to be stagnated for such a long time. It's not going to close when you or they want it to close. So we can help keep those relationships strong, because instead of them having to call you or say, what are we going to do? They call us, we get someone out there to hopefully get it fixed. Okay. And that's also part of number 4. It keeps the sales on track, because if you've got a furnace or a dishwasher or whatever that fails and we are able to cover it, or at least part of it, it's going to help keep that sale going. Okay. Because no buyer is going to want to move into a house that doesn't have all the working parts, right? You mitigate risk. Like I said earlier too, you don't want a buyer that's going to move into a house that has a water heater that dies soon after they move in, or a furnace or a dishwasher or whatever. Like, that seller knew that it was going to fail and I'm going to sue them. I'm going to go after them for, whatever. If they put this in place, say, look, we're going to offer this to you, and then we're walking away. Okay. This is going to help you, because you don't know when a lot of things are going to fail. You could have a forced air furnace that has an electronics box on it, that those things can break at any time. Okay. I've seen it happen. I've got a boiler, same type thing. The electronics box is gone. The thermocouple on a boiler, they can go at any time. You don't know. So it's just one of those things that it can help mitigate risk on this. And number 6, like I said, it can stand out in multiple offer situations. It's the sweeten the deal type thing. So if you've got a bunch of people going after one house, and your buyer can put this on as a potential offer to enhance that offer, it's going to help them stand out in that crowd. Okay. So hopefully it's going to help them get that deal. And I've had people recently that have been using this a lot, and they've been calling me, hey, we got the house because we put the warranty on. It doesn't work out all the time. Sometimes they just don't put enough cash down, or there's some other scenarios that they are looking for. But this really, really can potentially help them out. Okay. All right. Almost done, I promise. Like I mentioned earlier, Peach, plumbing, electrical, appliance, cooling, and heating. This is the claims for all of 2019 and all of 2020. 2020, we did do less warranties because there was like about a 3-month block where no one was really doing anything. Nothing was closing. So we did less warranties. But if you look at these numbers here, we did more claims because more people were at home. So when you look at this, we pay people all the time say, oh, well, that warranty doesn't pay out. They don't do this. They're not worth the piece of paper they're on, or they're printed on, stuff like that. I beg to differ. Think of this pricing is down to 646,000 at the very bottom. We get things at a much, much, much better price than a typical homeowner does, because we are, again, part of American Home Shield. We get things at a significant discount because we buy millions upon millions upon millions of dollars every year in items, whether it's, appliances, water heaters, furnaces, whatever. So we get a really, really significant discount on stuff. So the price that's on here is probably wholesale or less. And if you are a traditional homeowner, you're going to be paying full retail pricing. So this $646,000 for those 2 years would probably be closer to $1 million paid out if it was a regular warranty. Now, again, this almost $1 million for 2 years. The 646 that's on here, I have folks that are in Ohio and in Pennsylvania in just that smaller area. Like I said, I've got the entire state. I've got people that are on my team that they have that amount in 1 year in just a smaller area, just in around the Pittsburgh area. Okay. This is all of New York State, because there's such fewer warranties, because New York, for whatever reason, is the least using warranty state in the entire country. And that's something, again, like I said, it's because of lack of knowledge. People don't know what it is, how it works, things like that. So that's where you as an agent, if you're able to talk about this, or at least introduce it to your clients and say, hey, here's something to think about. Here's a way that we can help get this offer, or as the seller, that they can protect themselves during the listing period. Let me talk to them. Let me explain what it is. Our numbers have been going up every single year. I've been doing this since 2013. Our numbers go up every year. It's just really slow. People in New York are just, I don't know what the word is, but they're just not believers, I guess. But these numbers are going up every year. And those that see it and those that actually get things paid for and get taken care of, wow, they're all very, very happy about it. So anyway, that's just kind of a little snapshot on there. But it shows you that we did less warranties in place last year, but we did more claims because people were home all year. Okay, and that's the thing. All right, and then last, where's that? Come on. For some reason, it's not. There you go. So all my information's on here. If I can get this go, that's my information. Please let me know what I can do. I mean, I'm sure you'll get this information from Maggie and from Jen. But if I can help you, please call me. If you need me, email me, text me, whatever the case is, let me know what I can do to help. Like, Maggie was saying, if you need me, I am going to answer back. If I don't respond right away, I'm on another phone call, or I'm doing a meeting like this, or I'm doing something else. If you reach out to me at the beginning of the day and I haven't responded back by the end of the day, call me again or text me again, because it means I either one, didn't get it. There's sometimes that happens. But don't hesitate to reach out again if I haven't responded back to you. Now, if it's 4:30 and I haven't responded by 5, then I just may not have seen it or whatever. But I will respond back to you as soon as I possibly can. I try not to let the day go by if someone's reached out to me that I don't respond back to them. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take this off. What questions does everybody have? No questions. Awesome. I did a great job on a Monday morning. Yay.
Hey, Mike, can I chime in here?
I guess, Jen, go ahead. Of course you can chime in.
Not again.
Oh my God, I talk to you like all the time. Yes, I'm always happy to.
Just stop. Just so you all know, in your offices, and lean heavily on your admins, which every branch office has an admin, hopefully, or sometimes even two.
Yes.
You should have right in your offices a buyer's packet and a seller's packet. Within those packets is a form that has to be signed by buyers and sellers, either taking a warranty or deciding not to take a warranty. So just be aware that we're trying to make this as easy for you all as possible, that you don't need to know all the ins and outs about home warranties, because God knows none of us as realtors do. Our goal is to know who to call, and that's definitely Mike. And it's okay to say to your clients, I don't really know very much about this, but I've heard very cool things about it. Let's call Mike so that he can explain it better. And I think that that's why there is a slow uptick across New York State, because frankly, I think it's two-pronged why it hasn't really taken off in New York. I think New York has one of the highest closing costs of any state in the country. So I think people are feeling a little squeezed as it is. And I think a lot of it is that agents do not know enough about them to be able to explain it to their client. So they're like, I don't know, just check this box saying you don't want it. And that's doing a disservice to your clients. So Maggie and I will talk a little later this morning about the 100% money back guarantee product that Howard Hanna offers. So that sort of will go hand in hand with the paperwork.
Jen,
Yes.
Is Mike's contact information in the packet then too?
Is it Mike? I'm not sure if it is.
I don't know. I have dropped cards off at every admin should know me. So
Yeah.
they should have my contact information. Of course, back when I was able to get on the road, I was able to stop by offices and give cards out. I haven't been on the road for over a year now. So the admins.
Like if you give us your PowerPoint, which has your contact information, we will post it in New Howard Hanna University on day one for New York State.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
all of that information will be there for you.
And actually,
so
Mike,
Hanna University really is going to make things a lot easier for you guys to find things.
Yeah,
Mike,
and I just did the sweeten the deal the other day too. So that's out on Howard Hanna University too, I hope. So yes, I'm sorry, Jen.
Can you just share your screen again with that last slide with your contact information?
And
if everybody, take your cameras and take a picture of your screen.
I can do that, I guess.
Or old school, write it down,
Or old school, write it down.
How's that?
Now, I take pictures of everything now. It's like what a concept.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Pictures of the type of dental floss I want to buy. I'm like, oh look, I have a picture of it. Make sure I get the right brand.
Oh, it's
mint.
Crazy. It's mint flavored. Yes. It's not plain. It's not unwaxed.
Just like your email address, mint colored.
Right. Right.
There you go.
So yeah, everybody. Ooh.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome, guys. Is there anything else?
Like Mike as a vendor. Do you guys have other questions for him?
If there's anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out. Like I said, I am here. Jen and Maggie both know how to get a hold of me. Obviously, I do talk to them all the time. But if there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate to ask. There are no silly questions. People say, I should know this. It's like, well, if you don't do this all the time, how would you know? So ask the questions. That's fine. I'm not going to ever, I would much rather answer your questions 20 times than someone think that they know the answer and it's wrong and they tell somebody wrong. Okay. So I'm very happy to answer questions. Not a problem at all. All right. So I do appreciate the time. Thank you for having me on, folks.
Thanks, Mike.
Welcome.
Always a pleasure.
Have a great day.
Hopefully someday we'll see you back. And
someday we're still waiting. We're still waiting for the word from my company to let us back out, but I am fully vaccinated. So just like my dogs.
Excellent.
Just like my dogs. So, all right.
That's right. Dogs and kids.
Dogs and kids and me.
Guys,
So,
7 minutes.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Mike.
7-minute break. Get up, walk around, get a drink of water, have a biology break, and be back in your seats at 11 o'clock, please.
Yeah, everybody, please come back. How's everybody doing so far? Dee decided to go outside because it is a gorgeous day. Pretty sure all across the state.
Yeah, it's really pretty nice out and I'm stuck in a basement. Oh, well. I'm a mushroom. They keep me in the dark and feed me. Oops, can't say that. Oh, I should have paused the recording. I'm gonna pause.
Kids and parents and animals and stuff going on in their lives other than real estate. I don't know how that could even be possible, but so it's a great refresher and it's a fabulous resource, but nothing is going to substitute what we're doing right here. I'm a firm believer in 1 + 1 is not 2. 1 + 1 is 11. There's a big power in the group. So if somebody's got a question, don't be shy, ask it, because I guarantee you 5 other people on the call have the exact same question. So
And even if it's only you, that's still okay.
And that's what, right. So Paul, did that answer your question for, where to go and what to do?
That's awesome. Yep, that's perfect.
So
And
for those of you with your cameras off, every few minutes, throughout the sessions, I'm going to be texting. For those with your cameras off, please type in, and I'm going to write something new every time. And that's one of the ways I'm tracking whether or not you're paying attention. So if you've missed the first 2 questions and you have their camera off,
you're not going to get credit for the class. And, at the end of the day, everybody is an independent contractor, and, we so get that. But we're here for you guys to become successful. And there's, every broker out there in the universe doesn't have what we do as far as training goes. So, it behooves you to take advantage of it and ask a lot of questions and be present, because that's always the best way to learn. And you know what, if you also have anecdotal stories to share, let us know, because how many of you are homeowners right now? Raise your hands. So, you've been through this painful process as a consumer. Don't forget how it felt. And if you haven't bought or sold a house yet, I think that that's a fabulous goal for everybody to shoot for. I still think, owning real estate is absolutely positively the best investment anybody can make. At the end of the day, everybody needs a roof over their head. So, why not own it with the bank or pay cash?
So Jen, it looks like everyone from Dergelis is here. So
Great.
Nicole, do you want to introduce yourself and whomever else you'd like to? And then we've got 5 extra minutes, so you guys can go to 11:30.
Well, good morning, Maggie. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. Actually, Shayna is going to be leading our presentation for today, but we're so happy to have everybody on. Shayna, are you ready?
Yep, let me just share my screen.
I know you guys are probably overwhelmed with information right now, so we're going to kind of keep it, short, sweet, and to the point, so that you know exactly what's available through our partnership.
Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Jen, it's Jennifer. It's so nice to see you again. Okay, so I'm Shayna Lovallo. I'm the Vice President of Dergelis Associates. We bring the agent benefits portion of the program to Secure Advantage into all of Howard Hanna. So thank you so much for having us today. In addition to myself and Nicole, we also have all the local advisors on this webinar this morning. So at the end, I'm going to introduce them to each of you. I know this is a lot of information. To Jennifer's point, Howard Hanna does such an amazing job with putting a lot of time and resources into trying to make everyone as successful as possible and to give them all of the tools possible. And this portion of the program is super unique to any 1099 independent contractor. So what I would really encourage is, although this is probably a very long Monday morning with a lot of information, albeit very valuable information, it's still a lot. Just tune in with me for the next 10 or 15 minutes, because this is stuff that you are not going to want to miss. So basically what Dergalis Associates does with Howard Hanna is we are the ones that are going to provide you with benefits and other types of insurance and automation in your business practices. So we're going to try to help each of you be as successful as possible and make sure that not only is your family protected, but so is your business. And so because each of you have different backgrounds, different lengths of time in real estate, different family arrangements, the program is very robust, as you'll see. Here is the full and complete menu of services. So talk about hitting you with a lot of information all at once. All I want you to get from this particular screen is that this agent benefits program is much like Howard Hanna. They're going to give you everything and anything to help you be successful, to help you get to the next level. And that's going to change over time. In the first, I tried to bucket it for you guys. In the first bucket, it's all of the guaranteed issue group benefits for you and your family. In the middle, it's the commission deduction to help you get best business practices out of the gate and get automated so you do not fall into the typical pitfalls that some realtors do. And in the last is all the wealth and individual products and all those types of services that we provide. So I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as possible with you guys. So when you guys come into Howard Hanna, you have a suite of guaranteed issue group benefit products available to you and your family. The first one up on the screen is the guaranteed issue life insurance. There are two things that I really want you guys to make sure that you understand about the program. One, it's options. We're giving you a lot of options. And two, there are certain deadlines on certain portions of this program. This life insurance has a deadline. So if you're within your first 30 days and you can talk to your local advisor off of this webinar, you have an opportunity to sign up for guaranteed issue group life insurance with no medical questions being asked. That's super important. So if you know that possibly you're uninsurable or there you have some medical issues, none of that is taken into consideration. If you are a new agent with Howard Hanna, it's guaranteed issue that they have to give you this insurance. And as you can see up on the screen, I put a sample rate up. So for a 44-year-old, it's about $27 a month for $150,000 worth of coverage. You can apply for more than that, but I think, again, the most important thing that you understand from this presentation is just that it's guaranteed issue, no medical questions asked, as long as you're brand new to Howard Hanna. We also offer guaranteed issue life insurance on your spouse and also your children. The other portion or the other product that also has a deadline is the guaranteed issue disability insurance. So short-term disability, we've got up to $500 a week to replace your 1099 income. For those of you that are currently on this webinar that are thinking, well, I get my benefits through a spouse, that's great, but you can't get the disability to replace your 1099 income through a spouse. So please take a moment and really review this one particular product if you review nothing else, because you don't want to miss that opportunity. If you want it down the road, it's not guaranteed issue. And so that's really important. You guys, realtors are always out and about, things happen. So it's really important that you're protecting that 1099 income. And it's just, you know, again, very, very inexpensive because, again, Howard Hanna wants to bring the very best products to each of you. This is, again, a sample of a 44-year-old's rate for the full 500, $24.91. I mean, for the month. I mean, that's unbelievable. We also offer long-term disability in certain areas. So for you can choose up to $5,000 a month of long-term disability. This would kick in after your short-term disability, but these are offered a la carte. So if you only wanted the long-term disability or you only wanted the life insurance, you can do that. Again, just a sample rate. So for less than a Starbucks cup of coffee, which I think we're all buying these days and addicted to, like myself, $5.72 will get you $1,000 worth of coverage as a 44-year-old. And again, these are the types of benefits that are not provided through a spouse and that are extremely important as entrepreneurs. And that's what each of you are. You're an entrepreneur, you're running your own business, and you need to have some level of protection should something happen. To round out the suite of guaranteed issue group benefits, we also offer group health care through a third party. The healthcare is very unique in that you don't have to wait for an open enrollment. You can obtain this coverage at any time through either Ben Advance or Golden Years, not through Durgalis Associates. These are very, very rich plans. PPOs, no referrals needed, multiple plans to choose from. They tap into the Cigna and Blue Cross Blue Shield networks. This portion, just the healthcare, is not guaranteed issue. So there are medical questions that you have to answer in order to qualify, and then you go through underwriting and the benefits would start the first of the following month. If anyone on this webinar is over 65 and you're looking for coverage in the Medicare area, we also have a partner for that as well. And Howard Hanna has a group Medicare plan, which is amazing. Basically what that plan does is it gives you group benefits at group rates, which is totally different than picking up an individual supplement. So if any of you have individual supplements, I do encourage you to look at what Howard Hanna brings to the table in that Medicare space, because the plans are a lot richer because it's a group plan. And then we've got group dental. The dental, there's multiple plans to choose from. Again, very rich in coverage. It can cover you and your dependents, and there is no waiting period. And the same thing with the vision insurance. So again, no waiting period for you and your dependents, very inexpensive, but very rich in premium. So if you do have benefits through a spouse, I would also encourage you to just shop it. Make sure that you're getting the most amount of benefit for the money. And my office is certainly willing to help you do that comparison. It should take a couple minutes. But again, we want to make sure that you have the best of the best here at Howard Hanna. And as you can see, eyeglasses are covered, contacts are covered, eye exams are covered. Again, just very rich plans. We also have a telehealth option. So for those of you that are loving the virtual world as I am and really don't want to go anywhere for anything if it can't show up at my door, this is an amazing benefit to offer. I will tell you that for those of you that are currently realtors, NAR came out with something and it's not as good as what we're offering here through Howard Hanna. So again, this is about options, right, guys? So you want to, even if you have these benefits, just check out what the differences are, because now as a Howard Hanna agent, you're part of that Howard Hanna family, which gives you a lot of access to a lot of options that you didn't have before. So the telehealth plans are great. You can tap into dermatology, behavioral health, all kinds of board certified physicians at your home, which is great. You don't have to leave and go anywhere. We also offer you guys a discount on pet insurance. So for those of you with, dogs, cats, this is something that can provide a benefit and a discount for you. We partner with Pet Plan. They do the underwriting, they come up with the rates, and you just have to give the code and they'll provide you with a discount. I know I have the pet insurance and it's wonderful. Here is my favorite portion of the program, so stay with me. Commission deduction programs for all of you guys. This is the best portion of the program personally. This is where the most amount of realtors get the most amount of value across the country. Why? Because of the way you guys are being paid, it's all over the place and it's very hard to stay disciplined. And basically what this is, the commission deduction program, is it's Howard Hanna's way of saying, hey, let us help automate your practice and let us take that stress off of you. So all of their accounting departments do an amazing job working with us and my back office to help you streamline the process to do two things. One, make sure that you have money set aside for your quarterly taxes. And even better, two, to make sure that you have accounts to reduce your taxable income, so you're not paying too much in taxes. And the way that the accounting departments do it is they're only taking a percentage that you have selected at the time of a settlement. So there is no deduction from your bank account. There's no flat dollar. This program can never hurt you. All it can do is benefit you. So if any of you were ever a W-2, which I'm assuming some of you were, then you know as a W-2, you've got your gross pay, and then you've got your retirement deduction, your tax deduction, and then you've got a net. And that's basically what we have done here. They take your gross pay, they take the deduction for your tax account, they take the deduction for your retirement account, and then they're giving you the rest. Now, we're not paying your taxes for you. However, we're making sure that you have an account where you have full access to your money at any time to be able to pay your quarterlies. Your accountant will love you. Let's talk about the tax portion. So the tax portion is a tax account. It's got unlimited check writing privileges. It's got a zero balance. It does gain interest. And what you would do is you would sit with one of the local advisors that I'm going to introduce you to at the very end to set this type of an account up. And what we do is we work with you or you and your accountant to select the right percentage. And then your accounting department will automatically deposit it into your account for you. It just doesn't get any easier than that, guys. Again, just one of the benefits of working with Howard Hanna. And then we have commission deductions. It's essentially the same thing where we're selecting a percentage of all your future settlements, and your accounting department will withhold it and deposit it in to the right type of retirement account for you. And you might be saying, well, I don't know what type of retirement account to choose from. Through this program, the list is way too long, but basically we have everything from I want to save $1,000 to I want to save over $100,000. And so what you'll do is you'll sit with one of the local advisors, their time is complimentary, and they will help work with you on what your individual needs are for you, your family, and your business. And then we'll set that type of an account up and we'll get those deductions started. So I'm just trying to show you on this slide, this is not like it's a one-stop shop. This is not, one product fits everybody's needs. This is, I can save a little bit, I can save a lot, I can switch it up. We want to, again, give you the best of the best, and we want to be able to give you options. We have different ways of enrolling. You can enroll online. You can enroll with one of my representatives. I would suggest as new representatives here at Howard Hanna that you sit with one of the Dragalis reps and just make it easier on yourself. You guys have a million things coming at you right now. So let one of my reps help you with the process. We specialize in realtors. We love Howard Hanna. We have been working here for, well, over 15 years. I think we're going on our 19th year as a partner. So we, this is what we do. And we love making it simple for you guys. We don't think that, oh, how do I go back? Let me pull that back up. Sorry about that. I have to now click, I apologize. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let each of the representatives just say hello. They're all on here. And then Jennifer, if times allows, if you want me to take any Q&A, I'd be more than happy to do that. I think the idea here, though, is just for you guys to know that there is an agent benefits program that is here to help and assist you, not just today, but with your needs growing as a successful agent at Howard Hanna, and to know kind of where to go to get more information. So Colleen, I know you're on the webinar. If you could say hello.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Do I need to do anything with my screen or just talk?
I think everyone can see you.
You're good. Wave your hand, Colleen. So everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Shana. Nice to meet you all. If I haven't met you before, I am a Dragalis rep. I've been with the program since it started with Howard Hanna. I'm based in Clifton Park, New York, which is basically the capital region, is the area that I cover.
And Jillian and Gab?
Hi, guys.
Gabby here. I am talking for both Jillian and I. We're sisters. Jill is in North Carolina right now visiting my grandmother, so I'm taking the reins on this one. We cover the Southern Tier and Central New York area, so you'll be hearing and seeing us. We won't annoy you, I promise, but that's what we do.
And Sam and Stephen?
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam. I'm based out of the Rochester area. Steve can't be on the call, so Steve and I run the Rochester area. Obviously, everyone should expect a call from me if you're around the area.
And Brian?
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian. I work out of Buffalo and live in Lewiston, New York, and I've been working with Dorgalis now since around November. So I'm looking forward to chatting with everybody.
We are definitely super excited to get started with each of you. What I would encourage you to do is these representatives will be in touch with you, but certainly you can get our contact information and get a 10 or 15 minute complimentary, what can you do for me? This is what I need for my particular situation. Everyone on this call has a different situation. And so although I tried to be broad, I really just want you to understand that we're really here for you and your individual needs.
Thank you, Shayna. So how many of you have ever owned a business before? How many of you have been independent contractor commission pay before? So for those of you who have not owned your own business or haven't been on commission, this is the scariest part of going from being a paycheck person to a not paycheck on a reliable schedule. I've been a commission person since I was 16 years old. My father was an outside sales rep. So I learned early, the first time you get paid, if you get a check for $1.50, you put 30% of it in a tax account and you put 10% of it in a business operating account. 30%, if it's more at the end of the year, guess what? Bonus to you, it's in an account. If you're not a good saver, and my experience is that 99% of people are not good savers, if you're in the 99%, you need to use Dorgalis to do this for you automatically. It's painless. If it's not in your check, you don't miss it. If you have to take it out of your check, you say, oh, but I spent so much money on this thing or that thing. In my opinion, as a former business owner, this is the cheapest business you can get in with the biggest reward. I was a massage therapist. Somebody take a guess what it cost me the first year out the door to get my business up and running. I had 9 people that worked for me. Take a guess, a money guess. How much money? Somebody take a guess.
I'm going to say 50,000.
$100,000.
Wow.
I include my lease in that because I signed a lease agreement for 3 years and that was $45,000. The equipment, the tables, the furniture, the decorations was another $50,000. That's an average probably price to start a business. You guys got started for about $6,000. Cheapest business you can get in with the biggest reward. I had no hope of making the kind of money you can make as a realtor when I was a massage therapist, none at all. And that's okay, because I love that work. So this is a really good plan. So if you're going to do 2 things, open a tax account and a business operating account. We don't talk about that one enough. Open a second account with 10 to 15% of your income so you can run your business, so you can buy your marketing, you can pay your dues, and you know that that's where that's going to come from. The second thing is look at your insurances. And then we'll talk to you later about some other programs that we have. These are great programs. Not all realtors have this option. You are very fortunate to have this available to you. But that tax thing, I know realtors that don't start saving until September or October. That means every closing they have from the end of the year until April has to go into that tax account. And so they're not seeing any money in their pocket. Why do that to yourself? Start right. It's painful, but it's the right way to start your business. You're the CEO, run it like a business. So that's me. And I have nothing, I get nothing from Dorgalis. Nothing at all. It's just me as a business owner telling you that this is the best way for you to start your business. Nicole, Shayna, do you guys have anything else you wanted to add?
No, thank you so much. We really appreciate the time.
Oh, yeah, no, we always, in the New York State, we always have somebody repping for us on Fast Start because we believe in the programs. In New York State, you're lucky. You will get someone will touch base with you within your first 30 days. Don't miss those insurance options. Don't miss those guaranteed dates, because if you do, that's a whole different ballgame, especially if you have something in your health. So start saving right away and, build a business from the ground up with a really good foundation. Then you're in a great place. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. It was really nice to see all of you because we've never had that before. So that was fun. So thank you, Nicole, for setting that up. And I'm sorry it's such a short time. We have so much content on day one. Well,
It's
actually,
all
every day,
good.
but day one is really horrible.
Have a great Monday, everybody. And thanks again for the time. Good
All
luck.
right.
Yes, congratulations and good luck to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So let me find my screen and let's go back to, I don't even know where it is anymore. I'm going to go and open this up. Get rid of that.
Maggie,
Yes, Jason.
when you were talking about, the 30% and 10%, could you repeat that one more time?
So the rule of thought is that taxes, you should put away 30%. Now, your first year, you have no idea how much business you're going to do. None. Your taxes might be 15% your first year. It might be 20%, it might be 25, it might be 30%. It may depend on other things that are going on in your household. So the safe bet is to put 25 to 30% in your tax account. A business operating account should be 10 to 12, possibly 15%. A business operating account is things like, I want to do a marketing program. And if you have money in the bank, now you know what you can spend. I won't sign up for something that's a year myself personally. This is me, Maggie. I won't sign up to an obligation for a year unless I've got that money in the bank. And I'm one of that 1%. I'm a saver, man. I have the first nickel I ever earned. And if you're a saver like me, that's great. You can do it on your own. If you're like most people, if my husband were dependent on himself, God help us. He'd not have a dime. He's learned after 40 years of marriage that to be a saver, but he didn't start that way. So if you're in that category, use something like Dorgalis to help you save.
Okay.
Because it's just like your taxes. It just goes out.
Yep.
And you don't ever see it. Yeah, Jen?
Sorry, everybody, my internet knocked me off again, and it's such a process to get back in. So hopefully I'm not reiterating something that somebody already said. I don't know how much you all shopped around for a broker. I can tell you 100% that no other broker in the state of New York offers any of these services to their 1099 agents. It's unheard of that 1099 folks like you all are offered this suite of services. And you don't have to take advantage of any of them, but it's amazing. I mean, the company waited for years to be able to offer health insurance. And yep, most real estate boards offer it, group health insurance. But these programs are so powerful for you all. It's just great to know that they're there. You don't have to take advantage of any of it, but I do definitely recommend reaching out to your local rep. It's complimentary, it doesn't cost you anything, to just have a confidential conversation with them. Just to say, hey, this is sort of my deal. This is some questions I have, because this is a huge benefit to being with Howard Hanna. So, I've been a realtor for a long time. I've been with different brokerages, and this is like unheard of offerings for people who are self-employed. And they had to wait a long time to get it all approved through the state of New York. So, this is a really big deal for people who are looking for this type of help, because this is normally a suite of services that you would get as an employee, as a salaried person. So it is sort of a big deal. So take advantage of the free consultation with your local rep, because it's worth it just to get the information.
Yeah, and so one of the things, we're more than 10,000 agents strong, so our pricing is reflective of that big size group. So if it's your local board, it's not that big. So ours is like 2,500 in Rochester. So your boards are only a quarter of the size of the company. And our company is a growing company. It's continually growing. So look into that. They will be giving you a call, but you can be proactive. You can call them ahead of time. So I'm a big believer. Big believer. Anyway, we're going to jump into Hanna Advantage, and this is about the advantages of being with Howard Hanna, the company you've chosen. Usually we do this first, but Christine's schedule with the banking and loan officer, it's much easier for her to start first thing in the morning so she doesn't have to break her day. So we flipped it out upside down to make her more comfortable, which is a good lesson to you as realtors going forward and working with your clients. Who flexes to whom? Do we flex to them or do they flex to us? When I'm teaching, anytime I'm teaching, I want you to answer me.
We flex to them.
Thank you. Absolutely. So, and I don't care if you crash over each other to talk. I want to hear your voices. I want you to talk. Other people may have other rules and they'll tell you we flex to them. That is absolutely correct. So Hanna Advantage. So we're going to describe what Howard Hanna is, what we offer, what tools and platforms we have. This is a lot of information. Day one, you're under the waterfall of information. And that's okay. If 3 raindrops stick, we're going to call it a win. Because guess what? You're going to get it over and over and over again. We don't expect you to have this memorized. We don't expect you to understand everything on day one. We are just giving you a brushstroke. This is what's here. So you will have heard it. You may not remember it, but you will have heard it. But with New Hanna University, you can go back and re-look at all of this information over and over again until it's part of your lexicon. So we're going to explain our one-stop shopping and our full service practices and what that means to you. Jen, you want to talk about the company?
Sure. For those of you who don't know, Howard Hanna, first off, something to embed in your brain to talk to those civilians out there, those clients and customers who you'll be chatting with. Most people across, I mean, we have a huge swath across the state of New York. We are pretty much the market leader in every area of upstate New York. So we are the elephant in the room for everybody. The consumer out there just sees Howard Hanna signs everywhere, just everywhere. It's really important to tell clients and customers that, yep, Howard Hanna is absolutely positively the biggest broker in upstate New York. We are actually the 3rd largest real estate company in the country. But I think the most powerful stat that you need to remember and regurgitate over and over again, Howard Hanna is the largest privately owned real estate company in the country. You say those words to a consumer and they're like, oh, I didn't know that. A lot of agents, even within the company, don't realize that. Howard Hanna is still owned by the Hanna family. There's no board of directors. You can't buy shares of it on the stock exchange. It's not owned by some venture capital company. It is owned by the Hanna family. And that's very powerful when you're speaking to clients. It is a family-owned company, and yet it is the largest family-owned company in the whole country. That's very powerful to a consumer who is thinking of buying or selling a home, because to them, it's their home. That's really all they care about. So this is great for listing presentations. When you're on a listing appointment and you're going up against 2 or 3 other realtors, even though you're brand new, this is a very powerful message to relay to those consumers, to let them know that, yep, we're big, we've got commercials on all sorts of TV stations. But at the end of the day, we are a family-owned and family-run company. When everybody gets back into their offices, you will start meeting the Hannahs. Every single person involved in the company is actively involved in real estate. So you'll wind up meeting all of them. And we have a picture of them on the next slide, but it was founded in 1957 by the original Howard Hanna. They call him Bop. You may see the Bop Shop under the marketing tab of your Go Hanna dashboard. Check it out. The Bop Shop is where you can buy anything Hanna related. I suggest everybody go in and buy themselves a golf shirt or a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or a baseball cap. They have North Face jackets that have the Howard Hanna emblem on them. Wear them. They're great conversation starters. So the company was started by Howard Hanna Jr., Bop, in 1957 in Pittsburgh. He and his wife started the company. There was a great need for real estate, and quickly he started Hanna Financial and all the other ancillary companies, because if you spread the wealth and risk around, you will survive in good markets and in bad. So Helen Hanna Casey has the quote at the bottom. Helen is a rip. Everybody will meet Helen at some point. She has been voted most powerful woman in real estate year after year after year. She lives in Pittsburgh, and she loves coming to New York. She will visit all of the areas. If you have a chance to meet her and spend some time with her, please do go and introduce yourself. She is a force to be reckoned with. She is the second generation of Hannah's running the company. So do you want to go to the?
Yeah, and Howard will be 101 this year.
Yes,
think,
he is
right?
still living and is alive and well and is 101.
So our vision statement is transforming the real estate experience with visionary people, products, and services. All of these, everything to do with our mission, our vision, and our value statements, these are all things that came from the agents themselves. In 2019, they asked us all to contribute our thoughts, and thousands of agents responded. And so these were rebuilt out of our agents. So they try to stay up to date. So it's not the same vision they had in 1957. The new visions are transforming the real estate experience with visionary people, products, and services. And boy, was that important in 2020.
So there's a picture of the family. The most majority players, although there's more and more coming in to the business from the family. So funny enough, and this is sort of hard for people to keep track of, but most all of the men in the Hanna family are named Howard. So of course they all have to have nicknames. So, Howard, the grandfather, great grandfather, is called Bop. So on the far left is Hottie Hanna, Hoddy, not Hotty, because that would just be awkward. But he's Hottie to everybody. He's Hottie Hanna. And then to his left is his daughter, Kelly Hanna Riley. She was just named our president of relocation. So you'll meet her in the coming weeks when she talks all about relocation. Let's see, next to her is her cousin, Annie Hanna Engel, who is Helen's daughter. So there's going to be a quiz at the end of this. Let's see if I can get all this right. Next up is Duffy Hanna, who is Hottie's son, who is president of Hanna Financial and First Priority Mortgage. Let's see, next is Annie Hanna Sestra. She and Hottie are brother and sister. Annie is the younger of the three siblings. Annie, I would say, is like our COO. She is in Pittsburgh, and she is sort of behind the scenes running the joint. Next behind her is Hobie Hannah. Everybody confused yet? Hobie is Hottie's son, Duffy's brother. Hobie is our, I would say, CEO of the real estate arm of the business. So he is the most active and the most prominent in all of the real estate workings. Hobie is in Cleveland, Ohio. And you'll see his face probably more than anyone's as regards the real estate. Then comes Helen, Hannah, Casey. Helen is Hottie's and Annie's sister. So Hottie's the oldest, then Helen, and then Annie for that generation of those three. Thank you for the pointer, Maggie. And Helen, I would say these days is very involved with a lot of the education, with the planning of all of our company-wide conferences and awards, and she has her hand in pretty much every part of the business. She's super involved in relocation, and you will be meeting her at all of the awards functions that we have. And let's see, Dennis Sestra is Annie's Sestra's son. Annie's the one in the middle. Dennis is the president of our Southeast region, which is basically Virginia and the tip of North Carolina. And then his dad, Dennis Sestra, is on the far right. What's Dennis's role, Maggie, officially?
Honestly, I always forget what Dennis's role is, to be quite honest. I can keep track who goes with who, and some of the roles, his is the only one I always forget. So
I know I do know that he is in Pittsburgh with Annie, and is an integral part of the Hannah family. But that's the gang pretty much right there.
He
That's
might
the
be
family.
he might be part of acquisitions, but I'm not sure.
He may be. So that is the family. Every single one of them works full-time in the business. They've all gotten their real estate licenses when they were 18. So they're not just figureheads in this company. They are the boots on the street. And, that is the family. So again, I think it's pretty cool that they are family-owned, full-service real estate services company. And when I say, they've got the real estate, they've got the mortgage piece. They have an insurance company. They have a title company, which does not play out in New York State, which we'll talk a little bit about a little later. They have a property management company. They pretty much cover all of the bases when it comes to full service real estate. So they're a very cool, smart bunch of folks.
And Jen, just a FYI, we're going to have to speed up each slide or we'll never make it today.
Oh, okay.
So our values, these come from all of our agents: integrity, pride, enthusiasm, diversity, stability, caring, and growth, making a difference in people's lives. One of the things marketing has done for us is each of these topics, there's like a postcard, an e-postcard that you can put on social media, and they're beautiful and they're really interesting. I love these phrases. They're not random. These aren't just words we thought. These were words that people had to write a definition for. What did diversity mean to you? What's integrity mean? Anybody know the definition for integrity?
Honesty.
So they're the best it's one of them. One of the best definitions for integrity is doing what's right even when no one is watching. So I used to have a friend that would say, she was religious, and I would say, you always seem to make great decisions. How do you do that? She says, well, I think about, the person who's most important being in the room with me. Would I say it if they were there? Would I do it if they were watching me? That's integrity. They weren't in the room. Would you still say it or do it? So pride. Be proud of who you work for. Be proud of yourself. To be proud of yourself, guess what? You have to do what you say you're going to do. Be enthusiastic. Nobody wants to deal with somebody that's like, yeah, so this is a house. You want to buy it? You want to buy it? I don't really care. Nobody wants to deal with that person. We want people who are upbeat and bubbly. And if you're an introvert, that doesn't mean you're not upbeat and bubbly, but you know, you may have to get on your feet and get in your Superman pose before you go on an appointment and get a little out of your comfort zone to be enthusiastic. Diversity, this is fair housing. I don't care if you have a client that's 2 feet tall, they're purple, they got green spots, and they got bright pink hair. You got to love them just like anybody who looks exactly like you. And you got to help them exactly like they were like you. And if you embrace that, one, you're just going to have the best life because people are so fantastic. How many people have traveled around the world? How many people have had the opportunity? I've had the opportunity to live outside the country for 2.5 years. I lived in Southeast China. And I got to travel around the world because of my company at that time. That experience taught me that no matter where in the world you go, no matter what people look like, we all have the same things that are important to us. We care about our safety, we care about our health, we care about our families, we care about having enough money to do what we need to do. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are, if you're tall, if you're short, if you're fat, if you're skinny, we all feel the same way inside. So just try to remember, everybody's just like you, but we come in a variety of artistic interpretations. Stability, that means being consistent. Do the same things, do it over and over and over again. That makes great realtors. Care about people. This is a relationship business. How many people think this is a sales business? It is, but it's also a relationship business. And you have to remember it's both. You are salespeople. Don't be afraid of that. Be proud of that. But be a good salesperson. And by being a good salesperson, build the relationships and do what's right. Use that integrity, use that enthusiasm, embrace diversity. And then guess what? That's going to give you growth personally, professionally, in every aspect of your life. So I love these value statements, making a difference in people's lives. You can make 2 kinds of differences. You make things better, or you can make things worse. Actually, you can do 3. You can be neutral. You can be Switzerland. I hate Switzerland for that neutrality thing. Make a decision. Decide what you're going to be. Hopefully you'll choose, go to the light, walk into the light, be good, do things for the right reason, do things because you care and you want to. Jen, want to talk about our footprint?
Yeah, this is a great illustration. You can see here 11 states and growing. Just less than 6 months ago, it was just 10 states. So we cover a lot of ground. You can see in New York State and Pennsylvania is where we probably cover the most geography. But we do have offices in Michigan, Indiana, North Carolina, South Carolina. I mean, I'm not going to name them all. You can see them. We just acquired Rand Real Estate in New Jersey. So we're covering that neck of the woods also. So, and we'll talk all about how you do business in all of those states and beyond. So we cover a lot of territory, and there's lots and lots of offices and great people in every one of those offices. In New York State, as you can see, we have Pennsylvania and New York State has the most offices.
New York, and I think New York has twice as many as PA.
Well, yeah. There you go.
So we are, because Jen, you have 40 offices and I have 42 on the western side. And I think Pennsylvania is 40, 41. So New York became very dominant in the last 5 years. Philanthropy. This is a company that gives back. So some of the programs, we have Coats for Kids, we have Habitat for Humanity, we have the Children's Free Care Fund, which has been going on. This has been going on forever. And we go to children's hospitals and we develop programs. So in every area, we are supporting children's hospitals. We also support this. It's a huge variety. So if you have a passion for some charity, bring it up with your regionals They may be able to, or your manager, start with your manager, and they may be able to help that office support your charity. Or you may want to support it through Facebook. I'll give 5% of every closing to this charity. A lot of realtors do that. Or you may want to just set up some programs where you're helping out. If there's something you're passionate about, let us know. As a company, we embrace that and we try to give back to the community. Why is giving back to the community good for you as a realtor?
Helps build relationships.
It does. Do you do it to build a relationship, or do you do it because you're passionate about the cause?
Both.
Both.
It maybe if you do it because you're passionate about the cause, you don't have to worry about the other part. If you do it to build your business, it ekes off of you. So just do it, assuming you're never going to get anything out of it. Just do it because it's something you believe in. The money will follow you. If you do it for the money, it won't follow you. It turns sour. And I know that sounds weird, but it's true. You just open your heart to the thing that means the most to you. And most of us have some story that makes us be passionate about something. Just do it for that reason, because it was something that supported someone you loved or cared about. And if you do that, it'll all take care of itself. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
I know sometimes we get caught up in that, well, I got to build my business and I got to do this to build my business. Don't do everything from that standpoint. Do it because it's the right thing to do, and then your business will grow. I promise. So I'm just trying to read this chat. What's it say? Habiba says right. I'm glad she agrees. All right, Jen, you want to talk about One Stop?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, the Hanna family owns the real estate company, mortgage companies, title and escrow, and insurance. They cover all the bases. So it really truly can be one-stop shopping. I mean, these days, you know, I've got a 20-year-old who, if he never touched a lawnmower again, he'd be happy for the rest of his life. He will be the generation that hires people to do things. And that's okay. A lot of people, especially going through purchasing a house, want to just be told, you know, call this person for your homeowner's insurance, call this person for your mortgage, you know, call this attorney for your closings. It's something nice to be able to offer to your clients. They don't have to take advantage of any of it. But a lot of folks really like this sort of one-stop shopping type of doing business. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. Maggie, do you want to just touch on?
Just, and Jen already did. Largest real estate company in the US, third largest home warranty company in the US, third largest real estate mortgage company in the US, and third largest real estate title and closing company. Why is that important? That means that we're tried and true. So these aren't new programs. These are things that are established. They work, they have a history, they have fans, they have, so those kinds of numbers are going to help support you going out in the world, because you are not bigger than the brand. So in my area, we have a huge realtor, Holly Creek in the Buffalo area. You have Jason Sakoti, just these huge teams that do, you know, 70, 80 million dollars a year. And if you're not in my area, have you ever heard of them?
No.
Have you heard of Howard Hanna?
Yes.
So if you haven't heard of an agent doing $80 million, whose brand is more important, yours or Howard Hanna's? Marry yourself to the brand, marry yourself to what you know about the brand, learned about the brand, because the brand is bigger than you are. Even if you're working for a giant team, and I heard that some of you, I think Terry, you're working for a big team. Your team may be great, may be powerful, may be known locally, but the brand is bigger. The Howard Hanna brand is bigger. So learn what we know about that. Jen, you want to talk about client-centric?
Yeah, and again, this is how you want to run your business. Howard Hanna has always been customer centric. Howard Hanna supports their agents more than any broker I have ever come in contact with. We, Maggie, Natalie, myself, are all supporting players to help you all be successful. And frankly, if you all are successful, it makes us look good. But at the end of the day, that truly is our goal, is to be your support. And in turn, we want you as agents to be customer centric. So, we support you all with, full-time management, full-time admin staff. We've got a full-time marketing department, full-time IT bevy of people in every region to help you. It's not like you're calling a third-party vendor in another country. They have invested, the Hanna family has invested so much into all of this, all of the Durgalis products. Again, no broker on the planet offers what we offer to you all as agents to support you, so that in turn you all can support your buyers and sellers.
And together we do great things. Learn from each other. You're going to come across some agents, a few of them, they're going to hold all of their information like it's some big, deep, dark secret that makes them different and makes them successful. Leave them alone. Don't worry about them. Find the agents who embrace you with open arms, who share what they know, who share what they've learned, who want to help you, who want to help you grow. And who's the person you're going to start with?
Manager.
I've trained you on this. That's it.
Manager.
That's it. You guys are right.
Actually, can I say something too?
Manager.
Sure. Go ahead,
In-
Carolyn.
In my office, with being new, all of the agents in our office have been fantastic. Every single one of them has said, "Do you need anything? You come. We're here for you," and all that. So, that's what I love about Howard Hanna too. It's just everybody works so well together.
That's fabulous. And you're going to find offices that are like that. And you are going to find there are going to be a few agents who think it's a big secret. They tend to be older. They tend to have been in the business for 40 years. And then you're going to find their direct opposite, who's going to say, "Oh, silly you. I'm going to share everything I've learned," because there's enough business for everyone. But if you show up and you're there and you're working and you're saying, "Hey, I can do that open house. Hey, I'd love to go with you on that inspection. Hey, I'd love to learn more about wells and septics. Hey, can you teach me about radon?" They're going to teach you. Don't be afraid to ask. I hear a lot, "Oh, my manager's too busy." No, they're not. I thought they might be too busy. Did you ask? If they can't answer if you don't ask. It's like a relationship. How many people are in any kind of a long-term relationship with another person? How many people think that it's really, really good to say, if they knew me, they'd know what I want? How many people think better is to say, I'm going to tell them what I need and what my expectation is, so they have some hope of meeting it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that's the better way to go. Married 42 years. It's, and when I forget that, it causes problems. It's just tell people what you need, because we're not mind readers. I barely know what I want. I can't read anybody else's mind. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that people have heard about the support and are feeling that mutual respect. Gravitate to the people that help you. And guess what? All of them aren't going to work for Howard Hanna.
Yeah.
You may find some great agents that work for some other companies. You don't want to go work for them, but you can learn from them. And we want to share. We want to be the realtor everyone wants to work with. So work as a group and show mutual respect no matter who. Jen, you want to talk about what we offer agents?
Yeah, I'm just quickly, has anybody ever seen a Hannamobile driving on the road?
No.
No.
A green, it will always be a green SUV. They always have to be SUVs. They are labeled with the Howard Hanna logo on each side with a tiny Howard Hanna logo in the back. We Champions Club, Income Advantage, annual awards. We have a big announcement coming out for our next convention that's bigger than big that I won't talk about right here. But, the Hannamobiles are, I think, a great thing to strive for. It's basically a program for agents once they're in the business and do X dollars of business, get money from the company towards a Hannamobile. Yep, there's criteria. Ask your manager. There's a list of approved vehicles, but it's your own vehicle. and they basically pay you every month to drive it around. Up to, I think it's up to
$350.
$350 a month.
So depending on your income bracket, it starts at one level and goes up to $350.
Right,
So
right. You can get $50 a month up to $350 a month.
so none of you will have one. None of you will have one this year, but
no,
because you have to establish a pattern of earning.
And a lot of managers have them. You know, I've seen Honda CRVs.
I've seen Mercedes, Volvos.
Audis, Mercedes, Volvos, Jeeps. They all have to be an SUV. A little fun fact about Howard Hanna, in our main office in Pittsburgh, there's a basement. And in the basement, they actually have the original Hannamobile, which is, I believe, a Jeep Willis, the Willis, was army green. And so that's why now Howard Hannamobiles have to all be green, and they have to all be an SUV of a certain ilk. So it's a cool thing that they do. It's a great marketing. So Income Advantage is also a fabulous program that basically puts you on your own draw. And again, it's not for people who are brand new to the business. But if you have established commissions, you can basically get a paycheck that's a draw, that you're basically drawing against your own commissions. But it's a steady income that a lot of people say, you know, once they start doing really well, they'll get into the Income Advantage program, and that money is what they sock away for their taxes. So again, ask your manager about that. That's not something also for brand new people, but something certainly to shoot for. You know, Champions Club in other states other than New York, they have big trips. The company itself is growing so big, and we're acquiring all sorts of different companies that I'd be willing to bet that our annual and semi-annual conventions will become bigger as well. So, you know, lots of cool perks to being a Howard Hanna agent.
So Secure Advantage, Jen just mentioned it. You can basically get a paycheck. So these slides will be available for you to read through. It's and then we have the tax savings plans, health insurance. We had Dergalis earlier today that you listened to. That's who provides all of these things.
Yeah, there's Income Advantage and then Secure Advantage. It's similar. The Secure Advantage is all the stuff that Dergalis just talked about.
Yep. Tax savings, life insurance, all of that. So again, I'm not aware of any company that provides this for their agents. So we're very fortunate to have that. Okay, technology. What do we have? What don't we have? And I'm hoping, Natalie, that we have all the things up here. So we have open to close. It's software to help you track open houses and to track your visitors automatically with automated emails and notifications and what's called a broadcast message, where you can send everybody a note, say, hey, price reduction. Real Scout is the Howard Hanna search engine. So you may have seen a search engine in your MLS where you're looking for properties. Real Scout is artificial intelligence. And we're going to teach you about all of these things. Real Scout is amazing. It has a 54% higher open rate than other searches. Why? Because it's artificial intelligence. And so the way the emails go out to your clients, they're very attractive looking, and they say things that get their interest. And we'll teach you about that as we teach about Real Scout. Buy side helps you get listings because it's exposing to the sellers who is buying, who are vetted through Howard Hanna, what buyers we already have that you have all taken through to your loan officers, and you've done a wants needs analysis, what they want in a house, what they need in a house, and that you know some things about them and what price range they're qualified to buy in and what areas they're looking in. And so buy side can help you get listings. It can also help your buyers in a seller's market find listings. We have Hanna Presentations, which is a fabulous program for so many reasons. It's going to help you with a listing presentation, a buyer consultation. It'll help give you a map to take buyers on showings, go from house A to B to C to D, because guess what? Right now, you may be taking buyers to see an awful lot of houses. La Point, funny name for a program that shows market share. And if you're number one in your area, you'll have a little video, you'll have some social media content. And it's a great way to show that we're number one in the area. People want to shop and work with the best companies. So we want to show them that we are. This is a really easy way to do that. Quantum Digital, that is our marketing that's automated. It's click, 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 and off it goes. All of these things we're going to go back to and teach you about. Mobile app, we have a Smarter Agent mobile app that you can share with your clients. People can use their phone. How many people use their phone for almost everything?
Yeah.
Guess what? We got an app for that. Open and Close is an app. Real Scout is an app. Boy, do we have apps for that. Engage CRM. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. The first word, engage, is the most important. It's going to help you with automated things, but it's going to remind you to actually engage with your clients through phone calls, through writing, through e-flyers, because guess what? You can send out every automated piece of marketing in the world. Do you think automated marketing is going to build your business?
No.
Do you think social media posts, I like it, I don't like it, is going to build your business? It may help. It may help. It is all about this. Although in our date right now, it's this, right? You got to be in front of people. You have to be introducing yourself. If Kamika, if I like you and I want to get to know you, and we've got some rapport, we have some things in common. Guess what? I got to work with Kamika. Man, she's cool. She knows me. I like her. We have this in common. If I can see what I have in common with someone, Jason, boy, I can't wait to work with you. I know this about you, and I've met you, and I like you, and I felt instant rapport. Those are the people we're working with. So you got to have that personal contact. Testimonial tree, that's how you get people who worked with you to say, hey, I liked working with Chelsea. I loved working with Alicia. They were fantastic. Why is that important? How many people read reviews?
Oh, I do.
Okay, these are reviews about you. Ernest, how to get a deposit through your phone, $15. Automated, goes through ACH, a very secure system. Really came in handy in 2020. AdWorks for agents, it's called retargeted marketing. It's available everywhere. It operates differently all over the footprint. And these are all things we're going to talk about. As you may see, not all programs available in all areas. Jen, you want to talk about dashboard?
Yeah, I know Natalie brought this up to show everybody. As soon as you get access to this, please log in, log on. Don't get frustrated if your password doesn't work. Call IT and have them reset it. This is it. This is the hub for all things Howard Hanna. Get familiar with it. There is just so much information right at your fingertips. Again, your admin in your office has been trained on most everything within the dashboard. So lean on them, lean on your manager. Get super familiar with all that is in here. Because I mean, if you can log into your dashboard, you can log in from anywhere to check your email, to do anything. So this is the dashboard. This is where it's at. This is where everything is housed.
So you guys are going to have multiple dashboards. You're going to have your Go Hanna dashboard. You're going to have your MLS dashboard. You're going to have your Open to Close dashboard. You're going to have your Real Scout dashboard, and you're going to have your Engage dashboard. All a dashboard means is just like your car. It's going to tell you what's going on and what's happening. And you're going to learn how to track using things. Guess what? Your first week, you're not going to learn it all. What's the most important thing you could be doing in your first week?
Getting set up.
Initially getting set up,
None.
and you still got to start contacting clients, but who are you going to involve?
Your sphere
Your
of influence.
manager.
Manager, yay, Sammy, go, you win. Yes, your manager, you're gonna start contacting people, because the most important, you can't wait until you know it all to get started. You gotta get started, even though you don't know anything. And I know that's scary as, I remember my legs were shaking on my first listing appointment. I mean, they were shaking. You know, it's okay. It's uncomfortable, so what? So that was Hannah Advantage. On your worksheets and your action items are in, Natalie mentioned your Fast Start ebook. These are the worksheets you have in there. There's a new agent checklist, and there's, you only open once, little things that you should know about, you know, getting started. And then I'm going to shut this screen down and I'm going to open up Hannah Exclusives. We have so much stuff to do today. I'm so sorry.
I know today is an incredibly overwhelming day.
I'm going to give you 5 to get up, walk around, get a drink of water, take a potty break, and come back by 12:22, please. And I will get Hannah Exclusives ready to go.
Awesome. Everybody take a stretch.
Right, I'll be right back. We're going to resume. We're going to get into Howard Hanna Exclusives. So we're going to just talk about the products and services that we offer as a company that are exclusive to us. And we do have some we have at least one program that is only our company. Differentiators, Howard Hanna offers exclusive proprietary tools and programs that provide benefits to you, to your buyers, your sellers, to maximize your effectiveness. And they really do. You are going to come in contact with agents across the board. Some of them are going to say, oh, I don't use any of those. I've never used any of those. That isn't necessarily the right choice for you and your business. You're going to have to pick and choose which things make sense for you and your clients. You may embrace everything. And the more you know, the better you can use these products and services to help your clients. And it's going to give you that sustainable competitive advantage. I'm getting to some place where we can get, there you go, Jen.
So at the end of the day, you really want to be able to set yourself apart because any consumer knows at least a dozen realtors. So what's the difference between you and everybody else? And this is what we're going to talk about next, is what does set you apart, because these are exclusive to just Howard Hanna. One of the main program, 100% money back guarantee, is a big one of my babies. I could talk about all day long.
Yeah,
but I won't.
And our promise to the consumer is that we stand behind our work. That's us as a company, not me as an individual agent. So because we work for a company that's so sizable and it's been around for so long, we have some of the best errors and omissions insurance in the business. Other companies may not even have errors and omissions. And if they do, they're not all equal. It's like insurance policies. Because they're such a big company, their E&O, their error and insurance omissions insurance is bigger. It helps protect you more. We alleviate concerns. How do we do that? Because we have one-stop shopping. So we work with all these other in-house. We have our own insurance. We have a legal department. We can help alleviate concerns. We have people we work with. We have vetted vendors. We streamline and improve your experience. How do we do that? Because we have so much in-house. How many people like to shop at Amazon? Why?
Easy.
And you can buy anything from a loaf of bread to a car on Amazon.
Absolutely.
Can you buy a car on Amazon?
I don't know. I haven't tried yet.
You know, but we all go there for the same reason, and we went there more in 2020 than ever before because we could get everything we needed in one place.
Yep.
Guess what? Who was it? Forbes, like 2 months ago, came out with a report about real estate, saying that more individuals want to work with a real estate that has one-stop shopping. And it was a big number. It's a big number. Jen, let's see, where's the, okay, here we go. Do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I was gonna say, just open them all up and I'll just touch on them very, very briefly. Buy before you sell program is through first priority mortgage. So that is something that you would get information about. It's basically a bridge loan. If anybody's familiar with that, bridge loans are, you don't see them very often anymore. I think you may start seeing them. So talk to your first P mortgage person about that. Sunday Showcase of Homes is big. I know in Rochester, it does not exist in the capital region. So depending on where you are in the state and in the company, it's a thing or not. Again, the My First Home Mortgage Program, that's something that's going to tie in. Just so you all are aware, New York is the only state in the Howard Hanna footprint that is an attorney state. Every other state in Howard Hanna land is an escrow state. And what that means is that attorneys close our mortgages, our closings. Attorneys run the closing table. In any other state in Howard Hanna land, a title company does. Howard Hanna owns a title company, Barrister's Title. It is not in New York State, just because New York State is an attorney state. Yes, there is title insurance in New York, but Howard Hanna's Barrister Title is not in New York. But you will hear talk about it when we go to our Global Fast Start classes. So just so you all are aware, we are an attorney state, which is a little unique to our area. Apartment Dwellers Trade-In, it's a program that we have that's used rarely, just because it actually comes out of your commission. So a lot of agents don't use it, but it's there. It's sort of like you're like buying back somebody's lease in order to get them into a home. Find It First is something newish to New York also, working within the confines of everybody's MLS regulations. It's basically to let people know about a listing prior to it going live on the biggies like Zillow and Realtor.com. So it gives us a leg up to get the word out on our listings before those big third-party aggregators get their hooks into our information. So it's a pretty cool program.
Yeah, so in Western New York, you have 24 hours before it goes into the MLS, and there's a whole bunch of criteria, and your manager has all of that information.
And so does your admin.
Oh, well, I'll just say the word and I'll let you go to the next one. Howard Hanna exclusive money back guarantee. Jen loves talking about this, so I'm just gonna let her go.
I know. So Maggie will give me the hook if I start going, like talking too long about it. So this is a program that Howard Hanna has had in place for decades upon decades. What do you think it is? I mean, does it sound real? Like, really, they're really going to buy back a house? Is it a gimmick? You know, what's the deal? I will tell you because I don't want to go take you guys over 1 o'clock. This is a real, true, bona fide insurance product that has been approved by the state of New York. It had to have gone through the insurance department in every state that Howard Hanna is in. And it took 2 years for it to get approved. Once we became Howard Hanna across the footprint of upstate New York, to get the New York State Insurance Department to acknowledge that, yes, this is a bona fide insurance product, which means that Howard Hanna, as a privately held company, had to prove that we were so financially secure that we truly could buy back, I think, 10 houses every year. So, you know, do that math across the footprint of how big Howard Hanna is. So it's not just New York State, it's all the states. And to be able to say, yep, we are that financially secure to be able to offer this product. So the insurance department in New York State said, yep, you can now market this as a real product. So having said that, 100% money back guarantee. Yep, it's a bona fide insurance program. At the end of the day, though, it is the best marketing piece that you have as a listing agent. Talk about being able to differentiate yourself from every other agent out there. And it's not utilized enough across the Howard Hanna footprint. Yes. Yep, the 100% money back guarantee. So there's, like with any 100% money back guarantee, there's always going to be the little fine print at the bottom. But yes, this is a bona fide thing. At the end of the day, there have been, over the 30 years that it's been in existence with the company, I think in any given year, the company has never bought back more than 3 homes. And most years they buy back 0 homes. So Jesse, we'll run through the restrictions. I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole on this. This little postcard is in every branch. Your admin has a stack of these. They're nice little cheat sheets. So on the front talks about the advantages to a home seller. And then on the back, it talks about the advantages to a home buyer. So for a seller, it's free. It's a free level of marketing. But there are restrictions for a seller. And this is where it comes in to benefit you as the agent. You have to have at least, is this across the board, Maggie? Is it a 6% commission rate?
Yeah, I believe that's the base rate.
The minimum. So that's the minimum commission that you can take a listing on. So, you know, at the end of the day, everybody's looking for a bargain. Everybody's looking for you to cut your commission, blah, blah, blah. We are a full service real estate company. We do not discount our commission. This is one way to ensure that doesn't happen. And it's a great marketing way, and get with your manager. And this is something that you can practice. But between the Mike McKenzie's home warranty, to be able to do a listing presentation, to differentiate yourself, to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what I do to market your property. Your home qualifies for our 100% money back guarantee. There's no cost to you. You get all this extra added marketing. You know, blah, blah, blah. You can get a seller's home warranty. And, you know, the Mr. and Mrs. Seller may be like, yeah, that's great, but we want you to discount your commission. Okay, you want me to discount my commission? Then those 2 things come off the table. Well, wait a minute, I want those things. Okay, then you need to pay at least the 6% commission. Now, we're never supposed to talk about commission. So between us and the 4 walls of upstate New York, that's the rule. 6%, which is great because it ensures that you all get paid what you're worth. 6% is the minimum. I have an agent in the capital region who does not take a listing for less than 7. It's a beautiful thing. No matter if it's a $50,000 property or an over the $1 million property, she gets 7% regardless. So the 100% money back guarantee, sell with confidence. It reassures the seller in an uncertain market. It sets the home apart from the competition. Howard Hanna guarantees the seller's asking price. That's a big deal. And Howard Hanna believes in the value of your home, increases the showings, and it usually results in the home selling faster. It's very cool. When this was first rolled out to us, there's all sorts of extra marketing. So, you know, think about it. You're in a home that you've listed, you're doing an open house, and you have the little 100% money back guarantee marketing tent thing, this little marketing piece that's you can put on the kitchen counter. Basically it says, ask me about the 100% money back guarantee. And somebody from XYZ company comes walking in with their XYZ realtor and says, oh, I'm interested in learning more about the 100% money back guarantee. Sorry, it's only available to buyers working with Howard Hanna agents. And I remember when it was first rolled out, our agents are saying, well, that's not fair. life is not fair. This is business, and this is how this product works. If you want to take advantage of it, you need to be using a Howard Hanna agent as your buyer's agent. So benefit to the buyer. Gives reassurance on the purchase, gives the buyer confidence on the value that they're paying, overcomes a whole lot of objections, and it shows the buyers that Howard Hanna stands behind the purchase of their home 100%.
Here's a funny little aside for you. Notice the sign here, it made me think of it. So when you're ordering your signs, make sure you get signs with rivets. They've got little brass rivets in the holes because then you can hang riders. So you're going to want one with your 100% money back guarantee and with your HSA warranty, and then get a bunch of zip ties. And always bring a pair of scissors, good scissors with you to cut them off, or a good jackknife.
Yeah, don't order your signs alone. Talk to your manager and talk to your admin about the best use, because when you're brand new, use the free signage that's available to you. I think everybody should just get the name riders that have your name and your cell phone number on it instead of ordering the full size for sale signs, just because the riders are cheaper.
I disagree. I think go whole hog, go in with confidence, get those signs, put your name on it. Assume that you're going to be successful. So it's a different approach, but like I won $100,000 in my first business. I had no business doing that. So signs were nothing. Signs were just nothing. They're cheap in my opinion. Anyway, next slide.
So here are I was going to say, Maggie, do you want to run through the guidelines?
Sure.
So this is sort of the fine print.
You as a seller, it has to be a freestanding single family home. It has to list between $75,000 and $600,000. 601 doesn't make it. 7499 doesn't make it. List with Howard Hanna, period. Commitment term 180 days. So here's my trick. Don't just go 6 months from that date. You might be at 178 days. I add in like 10, 15 days. So if I'm putting it up on the sign on the 2nd, guess what? I'm going to the end of the month. If I put it out on the 15th, I'm going to the end of the month. If I'm up on the 20th, I'm going to the middle of the next month. I just add in a bunch of time. No one's ever given me a hard time about it as far as a seller. That way I'm sure they've got it. And you can say we know it brings more buyers. Guarantee fee paid by buyer, not the seller. So to participate in the program, the buyer is the one that has the buy-in. Buyer must be an owner occupant, not an investor. So I can't get a rental home and use this program. That's a whole different kettle of fish. No co-ops, townhouses, condos, or cluster homes. So those are all excluded. And if you're not sure, is it a condo or is it a single family home? Because this one comes up, or a townhouse or a single family home, who are you going to ask?
Your manager?
Your manager, Chelsea, I saw your lips moving. Yep. If you don't know, go back and ask the question. Yep. Thank you, Alicia.
So where the money part comes in on the buyer side, and when I talked earlier with Mike about, your buyer packet and your seller packet, all this paperwork's going to be in there. The seller's portion of the 100% money back guarantee is barely 1 page, because it's free to them. They don't have any skin in the game, really. The buyer's portion, I think, is 3 or 4 pages, because if the buyer wants to invoke the guarantee, the buyer pays at closing 1% of the sale, of the sale price of the home. The buyer must sign the money back guarantee rider and application at the time of presentation of the offer. So they say yes, when they go to contract, yes, I want this. They have from that time until closing to decide if they really and truly are gonna pay out the 1%. I will tell you right now, of the people who say, yes, I think it's something I want to do, I'll check the box to say, yes, I'll pay the 1% at closing. By the time they get to closing, most every single buyer will opt out at that point. Human nature. They're like, 1%, I need to put a fence in the back. 1%, I need to buy new furniture. I'm really comfortable with the house now. I'm so excited about moving in. I'm going to opt out. So just so you all are aware, don't get bogged down in the details. Yes, this is something that has to be presented to every seller and to every buyer. That's super important because your admin will come back to you and say, where's my sheet that says yes or no, that they checked the box. This must be offered to every seller and to every buyer. But you need to know, and that's where this little cheat card comes in super handy, because it breaks down all you need to know, which isn't a ton, of how to explain it to the buyer. The caveats: Howard Hanna must list the property and sell the property. So it's got to be Hanna on both sides of the deal. The buyer must occupy the home as its residence. Reference the seller's application for more detailed information. Seller cannot offer any closing concessions other than a home warranty at closing for this to fly. Now, I will tell you, we have had this in upstate New York for now probably 3 or 4, going on 5 years. I do not know of maybe one time in all that time that I have heard of someone invoking at closing, paying the 1% for the money back guarantee. Now, Maggie, on the next slide, does it go a deeper dive? The actual, what they're buying is basically 1 year, 365 days from the date of closing, that the buyer can say, I want Howard Hanna to buy my house back. Yes, for the price that they paid for it. The seller would use this D because it's an extra level of advertising on our website, on newspaper advertising, print advertising. That Howard Hanna 100% logo gets added to the listing wherever it goes, whether it's print ad or online ad. You can search by listings that have the 100% money back guarantee attached to it. And it's free to them, and it's an extra level of added marketing that they wouldn't have otherwise. It's a buzz thing. It gets people talking. But I'll tell you, it's almost never invoked. It's almost never used. So it ultimately, yes, it's a real bona fide insurance policy that the buyer buys.
So there's a couple of categories. Jen, there's a couple categories of people who use it the most often. You want to talk about that
and
for a second?
normally we would put it out for you guys to tell us. A lot of military people would be interested in this because they may move around a lot and want to be sure that they will get the price of their home. The caveat is that, okay, Howard Hanna buys your house back, but you then have to go buy another Howard Hanna listing somewhere else. So if somebody's moving from New York to California, that's not going to work because we don't have any representation in California. So it wouldn't make sense. But some military people would be interested in it. Relocation people sometimes are interested in it if they know they're only going to be relocating, or they don't know anything about the area and they're just being plopped here. That's something. The third most group of people who use it or are interested in it are people who are considering getting a divorce, and their spouse may not know that they're considering getting a divorce. That has been the third most used reason for this, because it gets you out of the house, basically no questions asked, with your money back in your pocket to turn around and buy something else. So it's interesting. At the end of the day, like I said, it's almost never invoked. But it's an extra added marketing piece. It's something to differentiate you, and it's also something to insulate your commission. So get real familiar with it, because you have to have people opt in or opt out regardless. So you need to get familiar with what's on this little card. And so, homework, ask your admin for a couple of these.
Another group that may want to invoke the buyers is that they are near an airport or in a flight pattern. They are near a highway and they can hear highway noise. There may be or may not be a big mall or something being erected somewhere near them, and they're not sure at that moment if that's something that's going to happen. And that was one that happened in Rochester. We had somebody that was in a traffic pattern he wasn't sure about, and he opted in and he exercised his buyers. He didn't like the location after being there for a little while. So if you have somebody that's exercising that sort of, voicing that sort of disagreement, I love the house, but I'm really not sure about this location, this is a great time. If the house is a Howard Hanna listing, this is a great time to talk to them about the 100% money back guarantee. All right, welcoming first-time buyers with special incentives and targeted programs. We do have, we talked about second opinion. In our area, it's $50. In other parts of the state, and I forgot to change the slide. So
Yeah,
ours is $50.
yeah, New York is $50. Everywhere else in the company, it's 100.
And this is going to be a standard when we go to Universal. Everywhere else is going to do something else, and then New York is going to be just a little bit different because we're New York, and we just always have to be different. We have the lock and shop locking rates. And so you just talk to your loan officers. These are conversations. You need to be having meetings with loan officers starting this week. Start calling loan officers and get some appointments and just talk to them about what programs they offer and how can you be helping proactively your sellers and your buyers. Buy before you sell. Jen mentioned it. One of the things that's most basic to it is they have to have 70% equity in their home to use that bridge loan. That has been used a lot in the seller's market. They are actually sometimes going in as cash and then using their house and all these other things. So talk to your loan officers about what programs they have, what programs you may need that they don't offer so that you can go find another loan officer to put on your team, and then build your list of people you like to work with who have great reputations. Who are you going to ask first about loan officers?
Manager.
Oh, you guys are so smart. That's right. You're going to go to your manager because your manager is going to know who's working for your office and your agents and who's going to help you out. Because guess what? Your managers are in those positions because they've been able to do their jobs well. And hopefully they're there to help you do your job better. So, and they want to help you. So I just mentioned buy before you sell, using the equity in their house, it's 70%. So if you have a $100,000 house, 70% equity, you got to have $70,000 in equity. You still owe $30,000. Okay. Borrower must use Howard Hanna agent to purchase a new property. Benefits are to everybody. Why? Because you can close. They don't have to sell their house first. And on that note, you're going to see, you're going to, on social media, you're going to hear a lot of agents, oh my God, the market is so hot, you know, we're going to get 50 people, blah, blah, blah. And there's all this heat and all this emotion and all this anxiety over the seller's market. When you are talking most specifically to sellers, take the heat out of that conversation. Yep, it's a seller's market, but we're finding homes for people to move to and we're taking care of it. Houses are selling and closing all the time, so don't worry about it. Because if you create anxiety, where am I going to go? Guess what? They're not going to list. When you're taking your buyers out, you know what? I have a team of people. We're going to work to write you a great purchase offer to help you win a home. We may have to write a couple. That's okay, but we'll get there. If you're anxious, they're anxious. If you're in panic mode, they're in panic mode. You do not want to start real estate transactions in panic mode. And when panic mode happens, does everyone know what I mean when I say get in your feet, center yourself? Literally, stand up, spread your feet apart, ground yourself emotionally, shut this part of your body, slam it shut, stay calm, let the wave of emotion from other people wash over you. Take it, let your hair blow back if it has to. And then you say, I hear your concern. I understand you're stressed. This can be stressful. I've got this. Let me go talk to my,
Manager.
Manager.
and let me talk to some experts and let me help find a solution, because I'm solution oriented. I'm a problem solver. It looks like a problem right now. As Jen liked to say, nobody's dying on any tables. This is a transaction. It's an important transaction. It's a big portion of their income. But if you're calm, they're calm. If they're calm, you can get through anything. If you lead, you are the leader on that completely. Does everybody get that?
Yep.
Yes.
So just stay in your feet. Stay in your feet. There's my first home program. New buyers. Boy, are they anxious right now. It's really hard to get home. I have 2 adult children. My daughter's very fortunate. Her in-laws are building a house in Florida, and they're going to sell their house to them for a song, way under what they could get in the seller's market, which is a very generous gift. And she's really grateful she does not have to dive into this deep water of working in the market. Find out what programs are going to help your buyers, first-time home buyers. Make sure you have lots of options. Maybe they only have 3% to put down. Did you know they could get a conventional mortgage instead of an FHA? Maybe they have 0%, you got USDA. Guess what? That's in rural areas. It may not be a seller's market in those areas where those USDA loans are. So who are you going to ask if it's a seller's market in that area?
Your manager.
There you
Manager.
go. You guys are so good.
Manager.
Your manager, your manager, your manager. I want you guys to get reliant on them. They're not too busy. Go ahead, Jen. Is this anything we have? Yeah.
Yeah, New York, we don't have the Howard Hanna Assurance Program, and the apartment dwellers we have, and no one uses it. And it's not, I honestly don't even think it's worth taking the minute. I mean, we've got 6 minutes left, and
Yeah, even when I asked Christine Nathnagel about it, she's like, yeah, no.
it's
So for those of you in the Rochester area, we have Sunday Showcase of Homes. It harkens back to Nathnagel. It is a 30-minute television program, and you get like a 30-second block. It costs you $40 in Rochester, or you can get a subscription, and they come out in October. It is great if you have it in your area. If you don't worry about it, because nobody's missing it because they don't know they got it. If you've got it in your area, participate, because it's a great way to get your name out there. A couple of years ago, I had a brand new agent in Fast Start, Adam, and Adam decided to get a subscription to Sunday Showcase of Homes. He didn't even have any listings yet. He still got a subscription. He shared it with somebody else, because it's something you can do. He was walking around our local Wegmans, and somebody said, "Hey, I know you. Where I know you from?" Of course, he wasn't wearing a mask because it wasn't COVID yet. And he's like, I don't know. I used to teach at this school. And he's like, no. Oh, I saw you on television. Oh, you're that realtor. That person stopped him in the grocery store. That person also wound up selling their house, and they used Adam. It sounds stupid, but people see your face. They recognize you. Become a local celebrity. How many people have recognized the person in the store they shop in all the time somewhere else out of context? And you're like, oh, who is that? I know that person. And you're like, oh, that's the cashier I go to all the time. So people know you by that. So the Sunday Showcase of Homes is available. It's in more than 4 markets, because it's got Rochester, who started it. And you can share your listings on YouTube, and there's lots of ways to share things. So we're going to teach you more about that as we go along. Jan, you want to talk about homes?
Yeah, Howard Hanna is part of leading real estate companies of the world. I suggest everybody Google Leading RE. It's a fabulous membership for independent brokers who meet criteria. They have homes of Howard Hanna has labeled it homes of distinction. It's for the higher end listings, 750,000 plus. listings, depending on the area that you're in, that could be more commonplace than not. It is, again, to be a part of Homes of Distinction program, you do have to pay into it. But again, it's another level of marketing that you have access to. Our Homes of Distinction get advertised in the Wall Street Journal, full page Howard Hanna ads. It's a big deal. And again, it's a great way to differentiate yourself. If you have a listing that's 750 or higher, again, ask your manager about what you have to do to become a part of Howard Hanna's Homes of Distinction department, because it's a pretty cool thing that really caters to the luxury market, mainly for advertising and marketing.
And Leading RE is available through New Hannah University through affiliated links. That's the top one, Leading RE. We also have something called Institute that has more training that they offer right there.
Right, yeah, Leading RE is a general company that everybody should check out, because there's all sorts of great demographic stuff. And Homes of Distinction is their luxury arm.
Yeah, so our commitment to our sales associates as a company, Howard Hanna has invested in you. Through all those programs, remember the slide where I said open to close and Real Scout and Buy Side and this and that and the other thing. These are things they all have to invest in. It's millions of dollars a year. They invest in marketing and making it easy for you, ongoing education, search optimization, lead generation websites. Our website, the Howard Hanna website, the last time I saw the statistics, we were number 9 in a list of hundreds of most visited websites. What's the number 1? Zillow. But those are search engine optimizations. Until recently, they weren't a broker. The first 8 are all search engines. Number 9 is the family-owned company. Under us is another major company that's worldwide. We're not even worldwide. The one under us is a worldwide company. So our website attracts a lot of people, and that's a benefit to you, because that's more clicks, is more opportunity for you to get your name out in front and your listing sold. We offer continued support to grow your business and to help grow you. So it's incredible how much is available, and most realtors don't ever use it all. And they throw away big chunks of it. And I always like to say, if in your home office, in your branch office, if they put $100 million a year agent in an office and they put an open sign, open, available to answer your questions from Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 or 24 hours a day. And you just kept walking by going, oh, I'm sure they're too busy to answer my questions. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face. Try using some things, see what works for you. Try some things. Don't listen to anybody else's opinion. What works for one person may not work for another. Jen and I had very different businesses. We do our businesses very differently. So what? It works. My business worked for me. Hers worked for her. We do things very differently. So what? So what? You're
Lots
going
of
to
right
develop,
answers.
you're gonna find your own way, and that's okay. So here's some of the things that we have. It's pretty endless. Agent call to action. Make programs work for you. You got to learn what the programs are so that you can talk about them. Outline the benefits of the programs as they relate to the person you're talking to. You can't give the same spiel to everybody. Canned speeches don't work. It's got to be flexible to the person you're dealing with, the situation you're in. And then sell yourself and your services with passion and conviction. It doesn't matter that you're in your first weeks of real estate. You can have a value statement. You can know what you're going to offer and how you're going to offer it. It's 101. I'm so proud of us. And these are your action pages in your what is it? Fast Start ebook. I know it's 101. Do you guys have any questions? You can open your mics up and just talk. I'm gonna stop sharing. Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing. And I'm gonna stop the recording. Anybody have any questions?